right, we're back. Jay, what up, man?
What's up? Merry Christmas, everybody.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah. Kwanzaa. I don't know. Sorry if I left anybody else out. But
Satanic Christmas?
Yeah. Anybody that's atheist or whatever else.
Just say happy holidays.
Pagan
we'll leave it at that.
Too. Yo, happy holidays, everybody. Yeah, we're here. What it do, baby?
Episode 8, man. You know, I want to say it's packed today. It's packed.
It's super packed, man. It's the eighth wonder.
Yeah, and then, you know, we got a special guest.
Yes.
I'm excited about this. Got the homie Jake on the mic tonight, man.
Jake the Punisher. The big Punisher.
Yeah. Big pun.
Sorry. Big puns up in the house,
What
baby.
up, guys?
Obviously, we got the fire extinguisher, fire marshal standing by.
Bambino,
Zach, what up,
baby?
man?
What up, guys?
Yeah. So we're here, man.
Yeah.
We're back in full effect.
I mean, like I said, the show is just so packed, man. I think we should just go ahead and get right into it. What do you think?
Yeah. So let me start off with the hookah real quick.
Yeah.
So we're back with the hookah again because it's so fucking special, right? Lotus Bowl on top of that because you have to smoke with the Lotus Bowl. And we did something real special today. There was this mango habanero that's been going back and forth between Trey and I. And we've yet to use it because we've been kind of skeptical of it. Because a guy that told us, like, yo, whenever you smoke that, make sure you clean your hands and like all that stuff because it's spicy.
It does have, you know, some heat to it. You know, I'm assuming there must be actual, like, you know, habanero, either juice or something to it. So
yeah, it's spicy. It's actually good. I mixed it with a little lime to cut it a little bit. And, you know, just those two things kind of go together in nature very well, too. So we went ahead and mixed a lime in there from Social Smoke. We also did the mango habanero Social Smoke. Trey and I are also big fans of Social Smoke. So if you see that shisha around in any shops or whatever, we recommend that you go ahead and get it. They have some great chill flavors that really provide a nice mint flavor if you're into that. So definitely go ahead and hit up Social Smoke. You know, shout out to them for putting out good shisha.
What are your favorite chills?
I like the that cucumber chill is from Azure, so I can't. That's not Social Smoke, but that watermelon from Social Smoke is really good. I have the lime. I really love cutting everything that I have with the Social Smoke lime, and you know, I think those are my two favorites. I really haven't fucked with that many different.
Are you kidding me? We're at the Pear Chill Kings over here.
Oh, how could I forget about Pear Chill? I'm slipping. I think it's been a minute since we touched Pear Chill.
Yeah.
We need to bring that back.
So I like the ones you mentioned, of course, but the Cantaloupe Chill, and then the Berry Chill was
the
good
Berry
too.
Chill.
Berry Chill was real good.
I forget you got that sitting in there. That would have been nice to cut with this.
I didn't get like the kilo of the Berry Chill. I need to go ahead and pick that up because it's like the first time we had Pear Chill and like we just couldn't get enough of it.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
But the Berry Chill is good too. So
I went to a lounge not too long ago. I think it's the Ahala that has Pear Chill on the menu. So definitely check that out.
Yeah,
but, So that's the flavor that we're messing with today. Really spicy. Thinking about later on trying that with some chai spice, vanilla, mango habanero, make it like a nice spiced hookah flavor. And I think that might. Well, I'll let you know how that works out. Later on. We'll test that out.
It seems like we always come our best concoctions like 5 seconds before we're about to hit record.
That's true. That's true. But anyway, we got to jump straight into this, man. So let's get to it. We got Jake and Zach. They're going to give us their top 5.
Now, the thing, too, about this is it's an outside perspective. So
Right.
Be easy on them, people. Be easy on them.
No. I didn't say anything. I haven't even gone in yet. I haven't even gone in
Explain
yet.
something first.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am one of the key listeners to this podcast, and this
Very
podcast
facts.
is important to me because they help me know what's good. There's so much content right now that these two guys have been key in me knowing what is good with a busy schedule. And so this is from that perspective, somebody who does get information from this podcast. So if they bring some smoke on me, they're really bringing smoke on themselves.
Well, real quick. Okay,
Wow.
so
Let them know.
I'm
why.
not.
shots?
You know, I'm not gonna take.
they fired?
I'm not just gonna take that sitting down.
It's a
I'm not gonna take that sit down.
standpoint.
Real quick. Production meetings are Thursday between 8 and 10.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
No, that's
You
fair.
can find us
That's
at
more than fair.
So,
Hookah Buzz if you want to come through.
I'm just saying, it's on the calendar. So now we may shift from day to day depending on what we have going on, but the meetings are still once a week. So
You'll have to VC me.
So you should have started that statement with, "I'm Zach. I'm a hip hop listener. It's been 3 months since my last podcast meeting."
Okay, we don't have to go into specifics, but you're right.
Yep.
That just should go to show that I'm busy. And
No, and fair enough, but don't try to throw don't
You're
throw stones in a glass house, man.
true, just I'm saying, please don't hurt my feelings.
Oh, if that's what we're worried about,
Please
then we
don't
need to.
fall.
Hey, Zach, go ahead and hit stop. We're done.
No,
It's
you
done.
can do it. It was for the joke.
Yeah,
So he's wrong. It's all your fault. So.
yeah, that's fine.
So we're gonna let Jake, aka the Snake.
Well, hold on, Jake. Tell the people a little bit about yourself and
For
your
sure.
hip hop repertoire.
I was gonna let him get to that.
Well, but
I
you
gotta
can't- you
introduce him,
just
man.
can't- Yeah.
We're gonna let him
give him a proper introduction.
Okay, go ahead, man.
Don't
tell us
just.
something about yourself, like the hip hop you.
He
come
like
from the
starts
background.
off and he's just like, "Yeah, Lou Bega number 5."
That was allowed, though. You have no idea.
Ladies and gentlemen. Big hip hop fan. I've been listening to hip hop since, it's a kind of a lame start, but I grew up on the Tony Hawk games, and that was my introduction to like the underground side of hip hop.
Absolutely.
Instead of getting that, the top 40 version of hip hop that was big back then. But I've been friends with Zach for a while, and he was telling me about the podcast, and then I got to meet y'all, and we got to shop talk, talk about some of the stuff y'all do, and I was just really, really wanting to get on and kind of share my side of the story, my opinion on it.
Yeah. Glad to have you, man.
Yeah,
What
man.
is your first hip hop album purchase? You don't have to be ashamed of it.
Yeah, no, man.
It could be Little Bow Wow Doggy Bag, man.
Yeah, that was your
And
first.
you know what mine is?
What is
And
it?
It was also my first album I ever bought, and it was on cassette. It was Too Legit to Quit.
Hammer Time.
Oh, nice.
Hammer Time.
I still remember us on
Yeah.
The Specialist jamming that song. Well,
The whole album was good.
Yeah, that was
I think the first one I actually got was Man on the Moon.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Like
wow.
that you actually paid for?
Yeah.
Nice.
Way to go. Way to go.
And see, that's really not a bad thing because we come from the bootleg era. So that's a solid purchase.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, mine is actually the Sugar Hill Gang vinyl.
What do you mean, unfortunately?
Well, because one, the album came out way before my time. I was like 3 years before I was even born. But both of my parents are huge, audiophiles and things like that. It's the reason why I have the vinyl collection I have. The extensive music knowledge that I have is through them. So I'm thankful for that. But I was with my dad, and I guess he always wanted it. And then he got it. And I was like 7 or 8 years old. So you can find that album for like 99 cents at your local half price books now. But that's like a memorable thing. Like we used to go, I remember us going to the record store. I remember him buying like some Whitney Houston, some Earth, Wind and Fire. I mean, a bunch of albums, when he actually had to go out and actually buy the album, not singles, not CDs, nothing like that, but the actual vinyl record. That was one of the first things that, my first kind of introduction into music was, he heard it on the radio. The album came out, we went and bought it. And, that was a very solid reputation that I had when.
No, that's cool because mine's very similar. Mine's just as old school as yours. I didn't actually buy it, but my first experience with hip hop was African Bambaataa.
See, I wish mine was like that. Or Kool Mo D, because I was a huge Kool Mo D fan.
So, there was there were some dope ass tracks like that Cybertron beat and like all that stuff from back in the day. That was my first introduction to hip hop. So, I respect you for a Kid Cudi album.
Yeah.
Being your first. Like, man, we're huge
Hey, also,
Kid Cudi
like,
fans.
shout out to those Tony Hawk games because, like,
Tony Hawk games.
I learned
Fantastic
about
soundtrack.
I learned about like European hip hop
Mm-hmm.
from those games. I mean, it put you on.
Yeah, he can rap pretty much though.
Aesop Rock was
That
in
whole
those
Cool in the
games.
Gang verse just from playing
Aesop
Tony
Rock
Hawk.
was in
Exactly.
those
Like
games.
when he was rapping the whole thing
Atmosphere.
when I first met him, we were hanging out skating. Zach was rapping that "Cool in the Game" verse. I was like, yo, you know the whole thing? He was like, yeah, from Tony Hawk.
That actually was from Thrasher.
Thrasher. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Skating.
I remember it was a skating game. I can't remember which one it was. But
That one had an even better soundtrack.
Do you know
Tony
how
Hawk?
how big Run the Jewels would be if they had started in the early 2000s?
Oh my
Because it's
God.
perfect skate video
Right in.
background. It's inspired by all the old school skate games and all the skateboarding videos.
Now I want that.
Yeah.
So now we got a little introduction from Jake. Are we ready for his? I think so. There was a little misunderstanding here. They were supposed to give us their top 5 artists of the year, but they went ahead and did a decade.
That's true. And so the top 5 of our year was kind of rushed.
Yeah, so
But
That was also
they didn't
my
follow the
fault.
instruction sheet.
It's fun
Straight
because
F
you
from
know
the
when you're
professor.
you're in a rush, sometimes you just got to throw it in the crock pot, and these two are about to be in the crock pot. So we got it on high.
Yeah,
I heard
Bring it
there's
in.
gonna be
let's
some
get
smoke.
cooking. Let's get cooking.
Oh yeah.
Let's get cooking.
All right. So my top 5. What should we do
2019.
first? 2019?
2019.
2019. Hit us real quick.
Yeah,
All right. So this is just personal opinion, but I
course.
gotta put my
No
top
bias.
one.
no bias. You
the
don't have
Anderson
to. But
pack with Ventura.
Okay.
okay.
I know it's not strictly it has little rap because Anderson Paak kind of moved more towards an R&B with this project, but it was on play. I had the CD because I went to his concert with Thundercat back in June.
Nice.
Yeah, it was great show. But I had that on repeat pretty much the whole summer, really.
Wow, nice. Did
If
you
you
go to
had
that emo
to,
show or what?
if you could pick one or the other, would you take Ventura over Oxnard or Oxnard?
Ventura.
Okay.
Oxnard was great, but Ventura just had that groove, the flow all the way through was great.
All right.
Okay.
But some songs will jam for at least 6 summers. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right.
Punisher.
We got to put my number 2, Freddie Gibbs, Bandana.
Solid.
Great album, great follow up to Pinata.
Mm-hmm. Oh, solid.
Did you know about the fact that all that production is done on an iPad?
I had no idea that.
Which is
That's
crazy, right?
Amazing.
It's crazy.
That makes the
to
album even better.
Madlib.
Right.
Not better than Ventura in my eyes, but that's just personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, got to go to Igor, Tyler.
Okay.
Again, an album that's not quite all hip hop because again, Tyler does not rap. There are no bars in Igor.
He has one track that he raps on there, man, that he really went in full rap mode.
right.
So, that alone can make it a rap album for me.
Okay,
Like, he
so
was-
so you said something earlier, Jake, that I want to touch on. You said, does the artist necessarily have to rap to make it a hip hop album? And I would tell you no, because being the hip hop fan that you are, I feel like you and I speak the same language in some regard. NERD, Fly or Die, that's a solid hip hop album. And that is not an album that they're necessarily rapping on. Seeing Sounds, Seeing Sounds, they kind of rap a little bit more than what they normally did. It's not as hard as maybe In Search Of, but Fly or Die is top notch. So I would agree with you on the Igor album because one thing about Tyler, the Creator, is he's a huge NERD fan. And so the album is actually inspired by NERD albums. As far as how he approached the concept of his album, he's borrowing that style that he kind of grew up on. So I'm with you on that.
I differ a little bit. I think you have to rap on the album, be a pure hip hop. But that's personal.
Sorry to cut you off, but I just want to. Does it have to be good rap or can it just be any rap?
I think no matter if it's good rap or bad rap, it's rap.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be coming.
Who defines
the good
that?
thing about this show is you have a list too, Jay.
And
So
I have a list too, but don't play me like that,
If
man.
the criteria was opened up, where were you going with it?
like I said, he's got a list too.
Yeah, I got a list. too,
Save it for the
and
end.
it's fucking
Save
fire.
it for the end.
And it's fire.
Oh yeah, it is fire.
Yeah.
Smoke.
So moving on, I think this album just came out this week, but I'm gonna have to put Free Nationals on there as my number 4. Even though obviously they're the backup band, the features on it are just so great, and the vibe that they put together was so great that it instantly made my top 5.
What's interesting about the project, because given the position and the timing of this album and just, because one thing we didn't tell the people is that this is the season finale.
Yeah.
So we're gonna end the episode. We're gonna end the season on this note, kind of just a wrap up and everything else like that. And we've talked about in previous episodes of how there was gonna be albums that were gonna come in, just under the gun, just a little bit past the whistle blowing and everything else like that. So it's not gonna be able to get the play, get the recognition. We're not gonna really dive in the album the way we do other things. But I would agree with you that this album is fire. It sucks that it's coming out
at the very end of the year.
I mean, like, it'll get more, like, this is going to be something where we're going to be talking about it in 2020, but then when we do our albums of the year, we're gonna be like, nah, but it came out on Friday the 13th, 2019. So it would be excluded from the list because we're only talking about 2020 releases, much like we're talking about 2019 releases right now.
I mean, yeah, that's a hard thing because even when you come out so late in the game, you miss the accolades and award shows and things that are supposed to come out that.
You're still eligible for the following year, but at that time, you got to think about you're in a wave of everything that come out the year ahead, like a year in time from now until like the following year.
Because that happened with Black Thought's album. Remember when we were listening to that last year, and it like came out in like late November, early December, and it just like that was a fire album.
Well, so one of the best examples that I like to use is 2 years ago, I believe it was 2 years ago. Alicia Cara, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. She had the lead single Here. It was about being at a party and seeing about various themes and stuff like that.
I remember that track.
Yeah. So she took Best New Artist, but her project actually had come out a year and a half before she was nominated, and it was because of that cutoff for the Grammys. So when she won Best New Artist, like her second album was like, they were advertising that it was like the single for the second album was already coming out, but she took Best New Artist. But because of how the Grammys do their schedule, she was still eligible for Best New Artist. Okay. So she was almost an album and a half out and couldn't, in our minds, it's not Best New Artist. Like, well, what are you talking about? She already toured. She got the albums over. Like, she's putting new material out. But because of the Grammy nominations and schedule, she was still Best New Artist.
What's new in the hip hop world? Like, it's really fast.
It's super fast.
It's hard to keep up with what's new.
Yeah. And like I said, award season, you have to understand, like, in respect to them, they have a cutoff and they put everything else like that. But instead of excluding people, they kind of push people. Chance the Rapper was the same way. His coloring book had been out for a little bit, or Acid Rap had been a while. And then the coloring book came out just like right when they opened up. And so, but it was off of Acid Rap that he was actually able to have that wave in order to get the recognition. And not to say that coloring
Acid Rap
book
came out in 2013, and then in 2016, coloring book came out and he won.
Yeah.
Like 3 years later, people were well aware of who, Chance was.
All right. So give us your last. What are we on?
And, my last one, just because it was everywhere. She was everywhere. Lizzo.
She's still everywhere.
She's everywhere. Yeah.
She's everywhere, man. Yeah,
because I love you.
That's a solid album. Good choice. Can't go wrong. It's smart that you put a lady on there.
Recap your 5.
So again, my top 5's got to be Anderson .Paak, Ventura, Freddie Gibbs, Bandana, Tyler, Igor, Free Nationals, they're self-titled, and then Lizzo, because I love you.
Nice. All right.
All right.
So,
bring the smoke, guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of smoke to be brought because of the argument that you made. I'm more interested in our fellow fire marshal. We're gonna let you two get you off of your 2019 and Artist of the Decade, and I think Jay and I are gonna go after that. But we've got the Flint Wick out, and Zach, man, I've been waiting for you to drop your albums for me.
Well, you're gonna have to wait a little longer.
Are you kidding me? Is that 5 right there?
The Decade also for Jake.
He will, but I want 2019 real quick.
So my 2019.
Yeah.
I started it off. This was a big.
Are these in order?
This is in order. Yeah,
okay.
I just
all right.
changed it, finalized it.
Just go from 5. go to 5 for 1 for the people, please.
5?
Yeah.
Let's start with 5.
My 5th one. Okay, so going down. So my 5th one, Freddie Gibbs, Bandana. That was something y'all suggested a lot in episode 8
7.
or 7, I believe.
I mean, we've gone in
and
7,
you've mentioned
6. Yeah,
Freddie
I was
Gibbs.
excited about it,
Well,
and yeah,
I mean, almost every podcast we have, he's mentioned in some way, given some kind of credit, you know, for what he does. And I understand now, like he's keeping a certain kind of sound alive, and I listened to the whole album and like the whole thing. Beyond that, number 4, I went with Aesop Rock and Tobacco Malibu Ken. I've always been a huge fan of Aesop Rock. I'd simply put him as my 4th spot just for the credit of him being himself.
I think the
I do
album
love the album.
aesthetically is just
And
like
you personally actually introduced us with that same.
we just
video, I believe.
because Jake didn't even know about the album,
I had no
and so we
idea,
just watched
so-
the video again of Acid King.
But you put me and Jay on it at your place, and I was just like mesmerized because
That video
I
is
hadn't heard
it
the
like it
album
grabs your
before that.
attention, and you at least wanted to like, all right, well, I'm gonna listen to it, I'm gonna
Yeah,
check it
I
out.
Immediately dove into it.
I had dropped it in the chat with him and Franco.
Yeah,
that
Jay's
we had.
always. But Jay, you leave me seriously like 4 albums a day, and I love you. Don't ever stop doing it. One day I'll be able to keep up.
I'm like, let it be
But it's
known
a
that
lot.
yeah, I dropped that album
You
first,
always-
and I
you
showed
even
him the
tried
video.
to,
I
like,
showed Trey the video, and then
Specialize what you're.
we dove
dropping
into
for
it
me.
on
I
the
love
night.
it. You're
Yeah.
a great man.
Well, here's the thing too: is if you think that's what he was doing, you've just been given access to the Discord channel,
Right.
So Fridays,
Yeah.
Fridays it blows up in that
Yeah, it
hip hop
does.
shop.
Yeah.
So
That's
just so you know.
I'm getting
I'm
there.
daily. I'm still dropping music in there daily though.
Yeah,
so
you
much.
are.
Trey's like, okay, Jay, okay, we get it.
You're
Like, yeah,
somehow
no, I
talking-
listened to it, Jay, and it's not good. So you should at least finish the project before you.
That's Trey's like snooty opinion. he turns his nose up in the air a lot to some quality stuff. Like he's just not on the edge where I am, man.
God, I wish
He
we had a
can't-
mute.
Right.
God, I wish we had a mute button
can't-
sometimes.
he
You know what I
can't-
mean?
He
Yeah,
can't.
well, we do.
He can't
It's
be in the
just
future
hard to
where I
get
am at
to.
all time. I'm like Dr. Manhattan. I live in the present, past, and future.
You just gonna take my reference from me like that?
No,
huh?
your reference.
My
from-
reference?
Get out.
My reference? It's gonna take you to steal my reference?
No,
and gentlemen.
please.
It's all relative. It's all
Please.
relative. All right.
You gave me the opportunity.
All right, guys. let's
Apparently, we
focus.
can't speak for ourselves anymore.
Let's get
all
back
right.
to the project at hand.
Cycling everything now.
No, well, it was turning into that. So first and second, again, Freddie Gibbs, Aesop Rock. My third, I went with Tyler the Creator, Igor. I always have been a fan of Tyler the Creator. He's been the kind of like avant-garde hip hop artist. I've always loved him for that. He's always been in the media in a way that I appreciate. He's always been the like person to challenge, I think, society's stance on a lot of things.
He's punk as fuck.
I feel
He's
like
punk as fuck.
I feel like if Zach could be a hip hop rap artist, he would be Tyler the Creator.
I would try, but I
Yeah.
would not be as good.
Zach is just as trolly as Tyler is.
Yes, I love it.
He's a
I love
skater.
everything about him.
I got a question
I'll
for both
support
of you
all of
after we finish this. After you wrap up, I got a question for both of you.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Let's get. Come on. Got two
so
more.
my fourth one, I went with Earth
This is your
Gang,
fourth one, or is this
Mirrorland.
two?
This is
This
number
is two. Yeah.
Or sorry,
coming
number
from the
two.
bottom,
Earth Gang, Mirrorland. Jay personally introduced me to this. This is one that I actually clicked on. And I loved it front to back. I started looking into Earth Gang more. I saw some of their side projects and stuff that they did, like I think they did a Tiny Desk that I watched, which was amazing. They did a Colors series on YouTube, which was amazing. And they're just all around amazing musicians, and they feel it. You can tell they enjoy doing what they're doing.
yeah. Shout
And
out to Dreamville.
yeah, it comes across very well in with the sound.
I feel like you brought up two channels that I feel like are very big for music listeners. If you're not up on the NPR Tiny Desk series, then you're just not on YouTube.
Yeah.
Sleeping.
You're not on
doing?
YouTube
You're sleeping.
You're
because
sleeping. You're
there
not
are so many
Yeah. You're not
That-
hip hop woke if you ain't.
I mean,
listening.
it's not even just hip hop. I mean, as far as just
Music,
music
yeah,
in
yeah,
general.
True.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a more casual way of seeing the artist, doing it in a way they enjoy.
Yeah, they're comfortable. The
right?
small
They're more
crowd. It's
comfortable,
very
it's
intimate.
small. And I feel like you see artists having more fun than you typically see them having.
So I fell down a wormhole because recently Freddie Gibbs, Madlib, and an artist or a band that we haven't talked about on the show, but I just want to highlight them real quick, is the L. Michaels Affair. They're an instrumental band. They really got their start when they kind of redid 36 Chambers like instrumentally, but they're actually the backup band for Freddie Gibbs. So I wanted to watch them and Freddie Gibbs perform, and I recommend that you should watch it. But the next video that played automatically was actually like Sesame Street. They had like the entire cast, which was hilarious. But at the same time, it still kept like the same aesthetic of the Tiny Desk and the same quality. So you could still watch it. Obviously, we grew up on Sesame Street. We can all say that. But it was still just a good
Shout out
episode,
to
just
the
like
man
everything.
That,
Oh, yeah,
that
he
played
just
Big
recently
Bird.
passed.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
just recently passed. R.I.P.
But I mean, like I said, they obviously, even regardless of, it's like a child's, kind of segment. And they've done that a few times, but they still keep the same like quality level. Like they're still in control of it and
like highly professional.
Exactly.
Highly
So,
polished.
it was still a great episode. But guys should definitely check out the new Freddie Gibbs and Madlib. And like I said, the backing band was L. Michaels Affair.
Ooh.
They did, some songs off of Bandana, so it was great.
That's awesome.
It was good.
Yeah, I'll check that out.
Yeah.
Number one, drum roll, please.
Number one for me, and this was also highly pushed by our podcast, and for very good reasons. Jadina's 85 to Africa. I know y'all went to go see Jadina. And
You had the invite.
I had the
How sick are you now that you've listened to the
I
album?
am so sick. I will definitely be there next time because I've had this album on repeat myself probably for the last 2 weeks, a week before the last podcast, and then again after y'all mentioned it in this last podcast. I was like, I'm gonna listen to it.
I think I revisit it at least once a week. I have like 2 or 3 songs on the album that I just have to listen to.
Yeah,
Yeah, I came through.
Some songs are in my daily.
Do you have a favorite song off the album? Can you shoot that off the top of the head?
I want to say I believe it's Sufi Woman.
Oh, nice
Okay.
choice, man.
Wow.
Wow.
It's kind of like where the album shifts to like being more thought provoking.
Mhm.
I mean, the whole thing is, but if you listen to it front to back, it's more of like a writing vibe as you have put it before, and then goes to more thought provoking while still maintaining like.
All right. Yeah.
That's my top 5. So
Yo,
That's a-
look, man.
Not
you know what
bad.
I'm saying? So
I'm impressed.
I want to go ahead and put this on the record that I think I scared him a little bit in the Discord channel, because he said, "Hey, I'm finishing up my thing," and I just sent him the smoke emoji just to remind him that
2 quick
You're
puffs.
like, I
Yeah,
hope
yeah.
you're ready.
I was like, okay, like we've been very tame with you, and you're now you're gonna give your opinion, so you can get it just like Jay does.
Yeah.
So
I'm happy with. I feel confident in that list, even though I created it today.
well, here's the thing. I'm
Like
not
5
mad
minutes.
I'm not mad at the list, and for both of you, all of these albums are on my top 25 list.
They made mine too.
And so, arguably, a lot of this is actually in the top 10. So, kudos. You guys at least listen to music. And you can accept a
Solid.
good project when you...
Solid, yeah,
Yeah.
solid.
There was a few choice. Like I didn't also listen to that Schoolboy Q album.
Crash Talk was great.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
a lot of people have told me it's great. I've always loved Schoolboy Q for what he is.
Cool Boy Skew.
Hit that mic, Zach. Make sure you get in that mic.
All right. I can't hear it. All right. But yeah, so you want to do the decade? So we
Yeah,
thought
so
were
we
gonna
had
do
we
the
had
decade.
so originally, like I said, production meetings are on Thursday. But originally, I guess from where we picked up on the last episode was we said we were gonna kind of touch on the artist of the decade, given that this is the end of the decade, and so looks like these two were given top fives of the decade. So they put a lot more effort into this one. And Zach, I just want you to go ahead and give yours because I definitely want to throw some jabs at Jake after he gets his. So we'll get the easy one out of the way. So yeah, go ahead and give us the decade.
I want to say mine's kind of like a safe choice, but I also really believe this. Everybody's released an album since 2010, and they're all just somebody who has kind of like shaped my vision of hip hop as I know it or believe it to be in its truest form, I guess.
Yeah, it's a very safe
my own
list.
opinion. At the top, Kendrick got me through a lot of my dark feelings, I guess, because of when it came out, and
which is
being
funny.
an appropriate time for me to go through that stuff.
I'm gonna cut you off there, which is funny because I remember when I first introduced Kendrick to you and Carl, and you guys would not give Kendrick a listen.
That's absolutely true, but that's how I feel about some stuff at the beginning, like and then like I go back to it.
I understand because, like I said, I'm on the bleeding edge of things. And Trey won't give it to me, but
mention it more than once before.
I don't have to. That's the thing. I shouldn't have to.
You shouldn't have on this one,
Jaydubya, boy.
But you've done that quite often in our history, and
yeah,
it's
fine. You give it his credit when it's due.
Stuff that comes out the other side is stuff like Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, true. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
So that's definitely number one spot. Number two, Jay-Z. Watch the Throne came out 2011. I love the whole thing. It was very special to me because that was kind of like a good period in mine and Jay's life.
Oh yeah, that was a great
prosperous at the time, and it kind of suited that mood.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like both Jay-Z and Kanye on the album were feeling really good about themselves, and it came through that way.
I pushed that album hard, man.
Yeah, you did.
Real quick. So you said that you're a Kanye stan. Is that accurate?
Yeah, through and through. If it's not for him being an artist or an entertainer, it's for him being a pure genius in like the most truest sense of the word, like eclectic. He's weird. He challenges.
Let that man speak.
The norm.
Stop it. He
does say things like slavery is a choice, and I obviously don't agree with stuff like that, but it's Kanye of him.
He's always said weird ass things, right?
That's very accurate.
Yeah,
to say
he's
that.
always,
So,
he's always
kudos
said
to
weird
you to
ass
say
things.
that. That's very accurate.
Way to.
What I was gonna say earlier. Got a MAGA hat in the back of your closet?
No way.
No, let that.
I'm just
trying to Watchman that dude.
I'm just saying.
Trying to hit him with the Watchman reference
Yeah,
again.
well, we're he's walking into these doors.
I know he's.
Yo, leave that man alone.
He's walking into the doors.
I know he's towing that line right now, and I can't abide that, of course. But I do feel like it's
he's coming from where most Kanye fans come from.
Thing.
Like, look, we like your music, we like your artistry, but we hate the things that you say.
Everybody knows Trump is crazy, but Trump gets you seen. And if you're fucking around with Trump, you're gonna get seen.
I don't want to be seen in that light. That's the thing. You shouldn't associate. That's the thing. That's like.
I don't think he cares about that.
Like I said before,
true. He doesn't.
He's known to be outspoken. He said things at times that have been outspoken that have kind of pushed society forward in some regard. And while
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Thank you. Right. But at the same time, like that really kind of turned a corner for a lot of things. So the thing about people who are outspoken much like that.
Beyonce has the greatest album of all time, or music video of all time, whatever that was.
Yes. Not every time that they get caught with a hot mic and they say something controversial, is it going to push things forward? Sometimes it hits the rewind button.
Oh.
And so a lot of recently what he said, I think, has done that. And I think I've said this on the podcast before, that you can't just be selective of being outspoken and controversial. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's it's just as much bullshit as anytime we're hanging out and just talking shit and doing everything else like that. So I agree with you 100%. I'm a huge Kanye supporter, huge, but at the same time, I shouldn't have to feel responsible for every comment that he makes.
Absolutely.
And
that is true. I just want to make the point though that I don't go to Kanye for any socioeconomic.
We shouldn't.
No.
We shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because of his reach,
it is something that
sometimes
exists.
it puts us in a position where we need to comment about it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that that's what we follow.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the separation that needs to exist. Yo, clear that chamber.
Yeah, clear that out.
That mango habanero is spicy.
So spicy. Y'all are literally smoking habanero peppers right now. I just want to comment on how above manliness that is. Right now,
Jay, even though we're passing this around, got some young lungs.
Oh yeah.
you got some young lungs and you got some freaking scarred.
We are iron over here.
We know how I got these scars.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
We got those RZA iron lungs right here, man. Yeah.
So all right. So
well, we got you. Keep going. You got.
So I got to Kanye before I got Smoke. Damn.
You should have known.
you say that's gonna happen.
Dr. Dre. He's my number 4th choice.
Wow.
How?
And I was thinking, just thinking, like Chronic 2001.
Yeah.
There must have been a Chronic 2015.
Yeah. Yeah. How long ago?
Because the only album that I know
Can
is
he not
Compton.
be, like on a feature.
His production's been all through this
It
decade.
has been.
Yeah.
Are there
but-
better ones?
I just
we
see
got?
that was the one
absolutely.
that was a technicality that I was asking y'all about earlier.
Yeah. Here's the smoke right here.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, the single come
he's
out in
just been so
2011.
important to
Wow.
my entire experience with hip hop.
Was that Kush?
Introduced me to a lot.
Oh, he
I
had
Need a
2
Doctor.
singles. I Need
Yeah.
a Doctor came out in 2011. Kush
Yeah.
came out in 2010.
Bam, technicality boy.
See?
He's in the decade.
Technicality
Yeah.
boys.
Well,
He was
to make that
alive during
list,
the
though.
decade.
So,
To
with
make
that
the
being
list.
said, he's always been very important to my hip hop experience.
That's fair.
He's brought on a lot of people that I've then listened to, which leads me to my 5th choice.
Well,
Eminem.
real quick.
Oh,
You should have known.
Sorry.
I wanted to go so fast.
No. Look.
I hope you got that fire
You were gonna
extinguisher
get away
ready.
with
it. Yeah.
Fire marshal, because you don't need
That's
it.
been our show.
Yeah. You weren't going to just go roll through Super Mario World and not see a single mushroom, all right? Let me just tell you real quick. Dr. Dre is a terrible choice. He is. Yeah, I mean, Dre Beats came out in this last decade. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
Again,
man. This is him being really safe here.
Right.
In his
Yeah, like
choice.
you- yeah.
what?
Is that a safe choice?
it is a
though?
safe
It
choice.
is a safe
It
choice.
is super
Nobody's
safe.
gonna dis-
I am saying it
He's,
is.
he's got production on
Artist
Anderson
of this
Paak
decade.
stuff.
And that's what I was gonna say. I was like,
Game,
look,
he's
yeah,
got, he's
He produced Anderson Paak's album.
Yeah.
He did. He's done a lot of stuff with TDE.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Good Kid, Mad City. A little bit on the Damn album, I believe.
Yeah.
And obviously for Schoolboy Q, I think he had a couple. Or I think he did Collard Greens.
Collard Greens.
I think
yes,
that's
he
a
did.
Dre beat.
Yeah.
That was a great beat.
I
That's
love
a
that
great
beat.
song, yeah.
So, but we're talking artist of the decade. We're not saying producers of the decade.
Producers
just
rap
more
though,
important
but
to
in this
me
case,
in
we
this-
didn't get any. We didn't get any producing raps from.
Producers are artists too.
Yeah, that this is true, but I
We
don't-
just said that the only single that he had, and like I said, he did release Compton, which was also parallel to the release of the
what
the
He's
movie.
NWA.
Yes.
movie? Yeah. Okay.
What's the name of the movie?
Straight out of Compton.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Wow. Jake,
Jake.
welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, he's
Welcome
here.
to the show.
Yeah.
So, like I said, and the only reason that, like I said, the Compton album came out is because the buzz of that movie was so popular. So, and even that is a compilation album.
Oh man.
So, like, I mean,
He's
if
playing
we're
a
doing
two-set.
compilation,
You went JJ.
now
Abrams
music
save.
it should be like the top top
I'll
artist
do
of
it
the year.
again.
Yeah.
He did do it again. I'm sure with Rise of Skywalker he did.
Now that's
Yeah,
what I call
so-
music is the top artist of the
So that leads me to number 5, which was my other safe choice, Eminem.
Of the decade.
He has not released anything that is, I guess notable, but very important to my hip hop experience.
I'm gonna say something offensive for
Do
the
it.
sake of the show. Viewers and listeners know that now you were white after that one.
And that's okay with me.
It's fine. I'm just gonna say because if
You had
Eminem is the
Mac
number
Miller, you
one.
had-
If is the number one. I'm just saying.
I just don't. I
Eminem's
would
is
not
number
put.
5.
Yeah, number
Why did you
5.
go 1 to 5?
You had
Even still, I still yield to the same comment.
Kamikaze was dope, but it wasn't.
What was
that
it?
dope.
Revival was
Scar.
is enough to take him off the decade.
The worst, best song, Rap God.
Yeah.
Yeah. God.
God, you could not go anywhere with that.
Damn, man. Welcome to the show, man. Are you
got you.
available on Saturday?
I do want to
Make
say
yourself
that
available, sir.
part of this, and maybe secretly up until this point, was for some production value. I wanted y'all to bring more smoke than that. I'm
No, I
severely
mean,
disappointed.
I got more.
So he's trolling.
I got
us.
more. Yeah.
We got to get this man Jake out of here,
Yeah,
though.
that's right.
He,
That's right.
He's
Let's do
got
it.
people waiting.
Oh yeah.
on
I'm
him.
sorry. Limo's outside.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
He's got parties to attend. So
So before
we can come
before
back
you
to Zach.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
And before you start
R.I.P.
your list, so my question about Tyler the Creator, because both of you guys mentioned him, is he more of an artist that you can see through this last decade, or has he done a better job of trolling this last decade?
I mean, why not both?
But if you had to pick one,
If I had to pick one,
Don't
I'd
let
say
him
he's an
corner you
artist.
like that.
I would say
You
he's
you
just
step right into
more
the doo doo.
of something I want to hear more of.
I'd say with his Odd Future projects, it was obviously like at the beginning more so trolly, but that doesn't take away from the art that was in those projects.
well, I think Flower Boy and Goblin
Amazing.
both were solid projects and things like that.
Cherry
But
Bomb was kind of meh.
it-
To be
it-
fair,
That's
It
what I
is
was gonna
where
say.
You've seen him grow a lot.
Yeah, he if I had to put an artist with the most growth, it would be Tyler.
he came
It
a
would
long
be
way.
he came a long
Well,
way.
and I just feel like too with Odd Future as a whole, because we were talking about this before about like which label, if we were talking about like a group, had like the biggest impact in the last decade, and Odd Future Wolfgang was a significant impact of this last year.
Say it
I mean,
backwards. It's Golf Gang now.
Golf Wang.
Golf Wang, yeah, Golf Wang.
But I mean, at the same time, like they went from almost like a CKY guerrilla style, like it's how they did their.
CKY. Oh,
Throwback.
shit.
Hey,
Yes. Yo, Zach turned me
What
into
I-
CKY.
I
man.
can't throw something back.
No, man.
I can't
that
throw
was,
something
That
back.
was nice.
Man, I
that
just
was nice.
appreciate that.
So,
was nice,
but I
man.
mean, as far as like their style of how they were getting their music out, how they were recording their videos and things like that. So, and that's like I said, that's the only reason I posed the question, because in this last decade, I've seen them before and I've seen them after, like they've kind of exploded. I saw Frank Ocean before Channel Orange. I haven't seen him since because of the hysteria that he causes now.
Yeah.
But I mean, like at the same time, it's been an awesome 2 years. I mean, we've gotten phenomenal projects from him, and he's obviously one of the standout artists in that camp, arguably with Tyler the Creator. But they've just had like a significant impact. Obviously on the culture
the
is
internet
entirely.
too.
And like I said, it's crazy to think that, and I believe you weren't here for the last episode, but we've always talked about how Odd Future was like, they look like this, ragtag group of nobodies.
Yeah, nobody.
But you had the internet, Frank Ocean, Tyler Creator, Domo Genius, Left Brain, which all of them, imagine they're all at the same high school, just in the music program, just like in a, high school band, just kind of hanging out, making music just to keep themselves occupied, which is insane to think about. And
And just the nerds of the genre or
Yeah.
just music itself.
And I mean, that's the thing. They have like, kind of a tough exterior and stuff like that, but they are, all of them are true artists at heart. You get that from their music. You may not feel that on every project or every track that they put in, but very deep rooted. You know what I'm saying? They're very true musicians to their art form. So I mean, it would be I would say as an entity, I mean they're up there as far as like the biggest artists that impact in the last decade.
A force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely. So Jake, go ahead and I've held you up long enough, man. I'm sorry.
Man, let's
No worries.
5-1.
That's the way.
Yeah, no. I'm just saying Zach can't count.
I'm gonna mix mine up anyway, so
that's fine. And like I said, but you're gonna get smoked regardless, so it doesn't even matter.
I did my 2019 in reverse, so it evens out.
Yeah,
but you get a lot, much more of a cushion than Zach does. Zach, real quick, when are the production meetings?
It's like Monday. Or something.
Mondays at noon.
It's one of those days.
He has a Google Calendar and then he's on the invite.
Like I said,
and y'all both have droids.
Yeah,
Y'all both have droids.
Yeah.
Damn, man. See, I can't.
These are the droids you're looking for.
Yeah,
these are the droids you were looking for.
Okay.
All right. So let's start number 5, Anderson .Paak.
This man
My
loves
boy.
Anderson .Paak, bro.
I am a huge fan.
He loves.
I discovered him in 2016 with Malibu, and I've been a fan ever since. And even his stuff before Venice, check that out. Amazing.
He's so have you heard of Tehran and Ayo Mari?
Oh, I have not.
So they were kind of before he had all that stuff, he was kind of the drummer, and he has a few features like right before Venice comes out. Recommend that.
Ooh, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
So got him as my number 5. I think he's really influencing the way a certain subgenre of hip hop is going. I think he's kind of leading the way into more like live instrumentation alongside rap. You can see that in the Free Nationals album that just came out.
That's fine. I'm just saying he's doing what's already been existed, but bringing it back to the forefront.
Yeah. Bringing it back and adding new things
Roots,
into it.
You got like all these other hip hop artists. Jay-Z did that in his previous albums, bringing live music back to the forefront. But I get what you're saying.
Rarely is an innovation just like solely a completely new thing. It's usually like, oh, I'm taking this old thing and I'm adding in new elements into it to make this new thing.
I give him respect because he's rapping and drumming at the same time. That's incredibly hard to do. So I see where you're going with that.
Rap, drum, and sing.
Personally, no.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can barely talk and play the drums at the same time.
What was your last drum lesson?
Oh, my last drum lesson was
the
probably
meeting
back
that Zach went
Thursdays at 8.
That's why I love you, Zach, right there.
All right, so then my number 4, I'm going to put Mac Miller up there, R.I.P.
R.I.P. for sure.
I think he embodied 2 things for the decade, both that groovy style, the keyboard synth groovy style that came up with him, that he helped lead, helped put people on, and then also kind of what happens with drugs in the hip-hop culture nowadays.
The classic tragedy in this genre.
Exactly.
What was your favorite Mac Miller album?
Honestly, I discovered him kind of late in the game. I was shown little bits and pieces before, but I discovered him in 2016 when The Divine Feminine came out.
Okay.
That was a damn good album.
Blue Side Park, man, for me, man. Easy.
Blue Side Park for sure.
Show, man. Easy.
Even Swimming, when it came out, I loved it.
So here's the thing recently, and this is where you can grab some smoke for me, is I guess for some reason I must have been listening to the bootleg version of Swimming, because that song with Thundercat.
We gave you some smoke in the
Discord.
in
the Discord channel.
Right.
Man, so I was actually watching NPR Front Desk, and I saw that Thundercat was the bassist during the performance or whatever. And then they played What's Use, and I was like, how did I not hear the song? So I went back, checked the version that I had, and it just wasn't on there on the album that I had on my phone.
Really?
Because so for me, I find myself in places where I don't have strong network signal, so I can't always stream, so I just throw stuff on my phone. That single was not on the album. So I don't know if it was an issue where when I synced it to my phone, the song did just, so I've gone almost 2 years.
It was one of the first singles from that album.
Without hearing it. So I heard it for the first time a week ago. So I'm playing it Yeah, like Zach's playing, Lou Bega Mambo number 5.
What the hell is this?
So I'm telling them, it's like, yo, you heard this Mac Miller? What's use with Thundercat? And they're like, yeah.
Easy came from the depths of wherever he comes from.
Oh my god.
He like just hit you like.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing about Easy though. He lives out in the boondocs, so he had to go like a gas station to get like a strong network signal to send that. So I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
If he's like, oh, Trey said that.
It was quick.
Babe, I'm getting in my car. I'm riding.
Like, oh man, we all laughed, and Trey had nothing to say.
And I was like, yo, I said I was super late.
Yeah,
I said I was super late.
He tried to smooth it over, but Easy dropped a one-liner that just killed him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shout out to you, Eve.
Oh, Eve, what up, man?
Coming up from the depths of wherever you come from and just dropping those liners.
Absolutely. Hey, but like I said, I've always respected Mac Miller for the artist that he was, because he definitely sat in a pocket that, there's a few, select people that have been there. Like Kid Cudi's probably in that pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
He brought up a lot of artists. We went to a show with like a bunch of people that he put on. Kari, Michael Christmas.
Oh yeah, Michael Christmas. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. That I forgot if we went to that show. Yeah, that Michael Christmas show.
They were all shouting out to him, talking about how he
put
put
him
them
on,
and they're still going strong.
well, and we were talking about Schoolboy Q, about the impact that his loss like almost affected Crash Talk.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, no, I mean, here's the thing. We last episode we talked about Juice WRLD. Juice WRLD, I wasn't necessarily into like the intoxicating like rap style that he had. Mac Miller kind of like flirted with it. He has like a very drug induced type of
Almost lazy way of rapping.
Exactly. So, I've gone back, in of discovering the single. I'll go back and like visit the projects and stuff like that. So he's a very, marijuana infused rapper.
Yes.
So a lot of it, has to go down that genre and stuff like
And
that.
even his earlier stuff, like once I discovered him, I looked into his backlog, was definitely influenced by those like downers,
Yeah. So, and what's interesting to me, and like I said, this is super late. I apologize, but just re-listening to the album recently and it being fresh on my mind, like it almost mirrors what has happened to him in so many ways by the album art, the subject matter. There's a lot to be digested with everything because a lot of so just to talk about the album cover in itself. One of the songs, the intro track, Come to Earth, and how he's talking about he would give everything to get out of his mind. And then you look at the album cover and it looks like while he may be sitting in the elevator, it's actually him sitting outside of his mind.
Oh, absolutely.
And
because it's all blank around.
Absolutely. And so, I'm a huge fan of art in general.
Yeah.
And so they're saying like how, him showing his bare feet is reference to death. Mm-hmm. So obviously in the early paintings and stuff like that. So how he kind of mirrored everything that was to happen and how this was his last project and stuff like that. It's very profound for him to be the artist that he's top with. So I give a lot more respect to him.
Everything is meaningful.
Absolutely.
You even hear it when Ariana talks about, when she was dating him and how troubled when she dove into his mindset, how that even affected her, like being around people that are in that dark space that are trying to come out. But at the same time, isn't it crazy how so much beautiful art can come from that place?
Oh yeah.
It's insane. Like trying to get out of your mind, trying to get out of that space and
Absolutely.
sharing that with
one
people.
One of the most creative places.
And I hope that at the end of the day, when looking back at his art, that people that are going through that can see that. And he even produced songs that were like, yo, it's not the place that you want to be at the end of the day where I am. Like, and so I hope that people get that message from that. I think that was his dying message. So, I really hope that
well, and like I said, even the
that.
album title "Swimming" is even just like another layer to like what he was trying to get out. And like we've talked about this before about how artists are always trying to work the theme of their album and stuff like that. And while the album might not have had such a strong concept, there's so much stuff that's unspoken that like you pick it up from, whether it be the artwork, little tiny tidbits, with the subject matter and things like that. And so it just really made me kind of sit back in my chair and just kind of like appreciate Mac Miller as the artist, just because like, we just lost Juice World two weeks ago. And it was just like, wow, like, even though this guy was kind of maybe seemed as like more of like a popular rapper and stuff like that, like he was still deep in a lot of ways that probably a lot of people might not have picked that up. And
I think it's incredible that he made an album that was both somber and groovy at the same time.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to do.
Yeah. So I didn't mean to kind of roll off on that tangent, but at the same time, like it's new to me. Like that particular song that I missed made me go back and listen to it and really just kind of like observe a lot of stuff because you don't really pick up everything, off the initial release.
And it's something that makes
or you're just not on the edge like Jay is. That's all I'm saying.
Once you start
going back.
Just want to remind you, Jay, that your list is coming up.
I'm just saying that this goes back to say.
What's the use?
Back to say.
What's the use?
This is where I am.
Big pun over there in the corner.
I got Mac Miller and Anderson. All I can say is, dang,
yo.
Oh, that's your first.
He's killing you, Jay. He's killing you. Subliminals. He's killing you today.
Okay.
All right. So
that
hey,
was two.
yeah. Hey, wrap it up. I'm not gonna disrupt
all right,
you
so
again.
that's you're all good. That's number 5, Anderson .Paak. Number 4, Mac Miller. Number 3, I'm gonna have to put Tyler on there.
Yeah. For the reasons that we've already stated.
Yep.
Exactly, it's already been said. Number 2, Childish Gambino. And a theme that I was keeping with these top 5 is that they all came up during the decade.
Yeah.
Really at the beginning. Mac Miller, Kids was released in 2010, right? Mm-hmm. Anderson .Paak, he's like the only exception. He kind of came up, Breezy Lovejoy stuff in like early 2010s. He really came up in like 2014, 2016, all that.
Yeah.
But Tyler, Goblin, what was that, 2010?
Yep.
Yeah, it was. Yonkers, man.
Yonkers.
Ooh.
Oh, I
Campfire.
like She
Yeah.
on him and Frank Ocean.
Mm-hmm.
That was just a good like dark track about someone like following his ex-girlfriend or following the girlfriend that he has currently.
Yeah, that was a creepy.
Tyler also into some
That's some
dark
creepy
places.
stuff.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, like social media, like and you have access of you don't have to leave your house to see what people are doing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But yeah, Childish Gambino, he started 2010 Campfire,
yeah,
and then he went to Because the Internet.
My favorite.
Oh, obviously incredible album.
Fucking favorite.
It was
Sorry
just a
for the language.
complete artistic project, from start to finish.
Yeah,
Well,
hell yeah, it's complete. Don't
It was
you
pretty
dare
much
touch
complete.
Because the Internet.
It was
There's not a
more
skippable
polished.
song. Now, I want to say something about this album that not a lot of people know about, but he released a script to go along with this album, and he never got to film this script, but it's like
But you can read along with
yeah,
it.
it's deep down hidden in the internet, and you can read along. Sorry, I'm interrupting you, but you can read along with this script. I remember when we first started talking, Trey, that I tried to tell you about the script. I don't ever know if you checked it out.
I own the
did
album.
show me.
I own the album.
It comes with
Yeah,
the
but-
vinyl, right?
So
Yes,
yeah.
it's only with the album or the vinyl release.
But when you're watching it, when you're listening to the album and you're reading along with the script, and I think there was a YouTube video that like had the excerpts and like the songs and when to play them. Amazing, even with the Rick Ross references in there that played his father and Zealot, and like, oh man, amazing. It amplifies that album even more. And I'm a big advocate of having visuals and that type of art to go along with the album. So that placed Childish Gambino so high that when Awaken came out, it did something to me. I was like, what?
Okay,
Right.
and then on that note, I discovered Childish Gambino a little late to the game. I discovered him in 2016 when my buddy was like, hey, we're going to this Childish Gambino concert in California. Do you want to come? And I was like, sure, why not? It's a trip to California. That was the Awaken My Love concert.
Okay. I can see why you like it then.
Mhm.
If
That was
the first.
incredible.
Yeah. I saw him live because the internet when he was trying to do the live drumming and instrumentation with it, and it didn't hit the same.
Yeah.
That's an album that you can't do with live instrumentation.
No,
What?
there's so much effects on
So,
that
yeah,
album.
so much bass. Think of Zealot when you hear that song.
Yeah,
And
but I mean, here's the thing about that too, though. Like Travis Scott, like you and I saw him at ACL, right?
yeah,
not the same as the project hits, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's so heavily produced with the auto tune and stuff like that.
Travis
and like I
Scott
said-
almost made my list. He was very much an influence on this decade as well. But I just thought of so many other people that came before him.
Yeah.
But he's done a lot for this decade of
Even
music.
with that second album he dropped.
Yeah.
Nonetheless,
Nonetheless,
We're talking about Birds in the Trap, right?
yeah.
what about the bees in the trap, huh?
No.
Garbaggio.
Starships were meant to fly. Okay?
Whoa. I'm surprised
Yeah, that
Nicki
one
Minaj didn't make the.
That one crashed before liftoff.
They were meant to fly.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
Not saying they did.
Oh, Zach, big Punisher. No, I agree with you. Bino's made an impact, man. Like,
And then Atlanta.
Yeah.
we were talking
Not
about
even
this
to mention
before.
This is America.
Yeah, we were talking about this before we got on the mic, man. Like, his impact. Now, granted, his impact is a little bit more felt late in this decade, but at the same time, better late than never. His impact is still felt. It's more kind of closer to the front of everyone's mind as far as like the last 5 years and stuff like that. And even your list, like, it kind of encompasses the entire decade, which is, like I said, it says something about your hip hop prowess. So, no smoke to be given to you.
And then
Trey's got heart emojis in his eyes.
oh,
Oh my God!
Calm
we
down.
we need to switch you out with Jay.
Calm down, Trey. Get a
said there was
little
no
wet.
smoke, but I feel a spark.
Yeah.
Wow! Big pun.
All right, and then to round it all out,
Master P.
I had to put him there. Kendrick.
Vanilla Ice. Oh, what? Vanilla Ice. Nice.
Wait, no. He does have that home improvement show on HGTV.
Wait, he had that one
He's
song in
making an
2010.
Their original music.
Yes. I mean, I don't know. I don't watch it, but he's making an impact.
Yeah.
And that's another. I should have put him on my.
Yeah, you should. That's what Zach is. Nice, man. That was a good list.
Yeah.
Good list.
So number
I'm gonna
one,
have to
Kendrick
fight you
Lamar.
now.
Number one, Kendrick Lamar. I mean, again, he started off the decade. I just learned today that there was a project he did before Section 80.
Like I said, a lot of people missed it only because you have to think like in the last decade we've had streaming services,
Right.
So
a
a lot of stuff like you had to kind of be in the know as far as like what is being dropped as mixtapes, what is being like uploaded. I mean, if we go into the early part of the 2010s, that you had Dat Piff. Jay, help me out.
Yeah, I mean, you had Dat Piff, and you
This
had
is like the rise and death of forums and things like that.
Yeah.
So it was hard because the CD started to fall off, and everybody started streaming stuff, and like platforms like Pandora, you couldn't just pull an album; it would just play you tracks
Last
off of-
FM.
Yeah, Last FM. Like you couldn't really pull albums from there, and it is technically considered a mixtape, so it was hard to find it back then. And you, like Trey was saying, you had to be in the know. And as an up and coming artist, people had their ear to the ground, especially being from the West Coast. Like the South was still splashing really hard. Like it was hard to find an album from a West Coast artist.
I think you can make an argument that a whole little mini generation of rap came and went during that time.
Well, and so one of the things
2009 to 2012.
yeah, that came over, like you saw, like obviously in the early 2000s, you had the mixtape where you had, DJs like, DJ Smalls, DJ Khaled, DJ Drama. And then this kind of like, that was more of like the ad lib DJs where it was like, Southern Smoke, Gangster Grizzles,
Yeah.
and
Know
stuff,
I'm
stuff like that.
saying?
Yeah. And so the 2010s in my experience with these DJs is actually letting the record play, their name recognition, just being it like DJ something presents this was enough to get the self-promotion out of there. Obviously we saw DJ Khaled, he's arguably another artist that you can say in the last 10 years that made a significant impact, even though he's not rapping on the art on these projects. These are still his projects, much like
He is shouting his name.
I heard
He
he's
is.
the best music.
we the best. Now, like I said, it's no Dr. Dre with the one release in the last 10 years, but
he was on that.
So
I mean,
technically, he's part of this decade.
So
is what you're
yeah,
saying.
it goes back to Zach's argument. Like he was on these tracks. He wasn't saying shit, but he was on.
Yeah,
these
he had
tracks.
releases. There was releases on like.
Yeah. There were
it's
like
just
compilations.
Yeah,
there were DJ Khaled compilation albums.
But there's more than just the one project, which is my point. It's not just the one. He had a significant amount of like. We had just had Father of Assad. We had remember.
We had what?
Keys. Father of
What
Assad.
album? What? Who?
Um,
Yeah, that album was.
Yeah, we don't speak about it, but at the same time, it is a release. It's relevant to this decade. Not saying
Does exist.
We will. I think he could have just kept that one. Yeah.
He could have. He could keep a lot of the releases he has on the album.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, it's gonna get, which is again arguably one of the biggest artists of the 10th.
Yeah.
Now that's what I call music. So
Now that's what I call college.
now that's what I call yeah. Whoa. Big pun. Big pun is in the building.
Yeah.
So yes.
Where's the smoke?
There's no smoke to be given to you.
Nah.
I'll take
I
it.
tried to give you a little.
But what I was gonna say, give it for Kendrick Lamar. So for me, I have a tendency when I like an artist to kind of like, rewind the sands of time to kind of see, like what was your first project of this one? Because a lot of times you get to listen to the artist at his best. So I always like to go back with like, well, how did he get to this point? Obviously, this isn't his first project.
Right.
And that's how I came up, got overly dedicated. Originally, the first project I heard was Section 80, just like yourself. And then after Good Kid, Mad City came back, we round the clock and found Overly Dedicated, which is a solid project.
Same happened with me, but just an album later. I discovered him at Good Kid, Mad City. Then To Pimp a Butterfly came out, and I discovered Section 80.
Which, if you listen to Section 80, is like what you thought was his first project. You were probably just like listening to it with your mouth open the whole time.
Yeah, I was just blown away.
No homo. No, but like that is such a like. It was like a top 10 album the year it came out. I think it was 2012.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, I think Section 80 was 2011. I want to say.
You're right. So that, like I said, that is a very cohesive and complete project. When you listen to Overly Dedicated, it's not as complete. There's still some rough spots and stuff, but at the same time, the same quality is there.
Right. It's still Kendrick.
But it's still Ali, who is the lead producer since he started.
Right.
So like the production is still there. Everything is good, but subject matter, because he's so much younger, these how do you say it? The subject matter is just not fully developed just because of how young he is. And so
I noticed that's a thing that you do like is subject matter and things like that. Because I think back in the day we talked about Joey Badass in America KK.
Yeah.
You're like, yo, he's a great artist, but the subject matter,
what
he's
happened
still
to Joey Badass?
he's still
Also,
he dropped a little single that's nice. By the way.
Ludacris. I believe you said the same thing
I
about.
did say this last time.
No, this is different than Ludacris. He says it because they're young, because it's so young that the subject matter that they're speaking about.
Like he doesn't understand. He doesn't fully accept. Like he doesn't have the maturity enough to fully explain the topic that he has. Like imagine if you were rapping about this administration and you were like a sophomore in high school.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a different perspective.
Absolutely. Because you're outside of the voting perspective.
I think,
And so like you
That's
have
fair
this
to
voice,
say,
but
but
yet you don't have a voice. You know what I'm saying?
to see the kids nowadays, they have a voice because of the social media content that's out there, more involved into what's going on in the political world than what we were when we were growing up. And so for that matter, like for them to be able to understand, even touch on the subject matter is kind of interesting to think of.
Well, to think that the theme, coming out of this new generation wave and we'll see it with this decade, a lot of these artists are going to be, victims of school shootings. I mean, that's going to be a big theme. That's going to the music is going to be very responsive to how they experience it, how like that creative outlet has pushed this forward because of how many school shootings we've had just in this last decade.
True. I mean, we had that growing up, but it was in a different manner, when Eminem was speaking on school shootings or whatever and those things. So like we had that same thing, but it was in a different perspective. Like people were attacking Eminem for the way that he presented. Like now it's a tragedy.
It was a false narrative at the time,
Yeah.
but now like you have an overwhelmingly demographic of kids that have now experienced this, and it's going to be interesting to see like this next generation of art, whether it be in various mediums like music, actual an art form, whether it be playwrights or paintings and stuff like that. Because
any of the stories being told,
directors and writers
yeah.
and stuff like that, of like really experiencing like from a firsthand thing, because we always have had like storylines, but you're gonna get people's interpretation because we've always
experience.
Yes, but in a creative
way
to experience it, which is
and going back to what you said, Jay, I feel like with Eminem, with it being kind of like in the newer part of when stuff like that was happening, he was being blamed for it. Happening.
Yeah, him and Marilyn Manson
So
and
it's
all
like
those.
his perspective of
That's all those video games.
right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we've touched on this in our generation, but it was in a different manner. Like, oh, you are the cause of this, and not
the feedback we were getting from what was happening with everything was much different, because it was really like a tragedy, but like don't talk about it.
Yeah, now it's so
a
sad to
tragedy,
see.
and like we have to talk about it because it's happening way too often.
Yeah. But again, like I said, the attention is only going to be more felt once it starts to kind of flood the mainstream, which again, it's going to be the best, representation of it because it's going to be firsthand accounts.
So one of the things I'm incredibly interested in, I studied it in college, is generational theory. And actually, I did a paper about, like generations and like what kind of music they listen to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think something to talk about is Gen Z, as they come into their own as a generation, they are starting their generation off with school shootings, endless war, police brutality,
Civil rights.
Because
of same-sex marriages and stuff like that.
Right.
LGBTQ,
And, this drug epidemic, that's the world that they're growing up in.
and even other social movements like
Exactly.
Me Too and
Yeah, the Me Too movement.
having to see, people
Having a
before them
voice, but
going
having that
through-
voice silenced in ways.
Well, you're seeing more and more that Generation Z is like they're actually like standing up and like saying things now, like Greta Thunberg,
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're going to see in this next wave of Gen Z rappers, this first wave is kind of dying early, and that's going to give perspective to this next wave of Gen Z rappers.
Well, and I don't want to go out on I don't want to go completely off on the plank about that, but 2010 to 2019 or 2014, what this generation had, like that little gap that was coming out of high school and stuff like that, we didn't see a whole lot happen, as a country. There's significant things that have happened. Obviously, 9/11, 10th anniversary. There's a lot of stuff that happens, but like
Crash on Wall Street.
Yeah, but I'm talking about
Come on, we
stuff
had a
that like
black
really kind of
president that-
affect.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm talking about from like a youth perspective. Like this is
gay
not really
marriage
like
coming
there's
in.
like a 6-7 year gap where like nothing kind of like was significant. Obviously we had the housing market, we had Barack Obama,
Yeah.
we had the 2016 election and stuff like that.
Come on,
just-
I
feel like there's
I
a
think
lot
you're
of
skipping
stuff
on, man. A
that's-
lot
Well,
of stuff
but
happened.
no,
We had Trayvon. We had all these things.
Yeah, but I still feel like this
art.
is within the last 5 years, not necessarily the last 10.
I feel like you could have felt rumblings.
Police brutality is more of a
before.
less like, and I'm not saying police brutality is something new, but like bringing more to the forefront of like what we're seeing on social media and like the following Black Lives Matters in the last 5 years, as opposed to like the first 5 years of this
So
decade.
you're saying at 2014 is when, because your timeline is 2010 to 2014.
Yeah.
So
2015 to 2019, 2020.
I think that's
It's later in the decade, so there's
see
a
what you're
significant there's like a delay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
so
Because
4 year gap.
think about like Little Uzi
coming
Vert
out
is like a class of like 2013.
We're,
You know, so
Is he?
I think you're forgetting like we're coming out
as
of
far
that.
as high
There was a lot
school
of Bush era,
graduation,
right?
like his generation, like
Right.
you know, the argument is made like there's not substance.
That's what's going to
Yes,
affect.
like there was no substance for a minute and stuff like that. But there wasn't something that happened within the high schools. You know, they changed within the last 10 years about like how they score SAT scores, ACT scores, and whether they should do standardized testing in general has happened in the last 10 years. So there's that. But in the last 5 years, there's been the school shootings. There's been more or less the gotcha journalism where a lot of stuff is more filmed and things like that.
Fake
a lot of
Fake
of
news,
that.
the ICE stuff.
You know what
Yeah, I hear what y'all saying, though, but a
Exactly.
lot of that is the advent of social media really taking off. Though
It is.
Well, yes,
So,
but
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 I'm
there's
saying-
more like experience from this generation that's going to be now coming into the
Potential rap.
political environment. Like you have the people that have experiences, now they're eligible to vote. Now
They grew
they've
up
experienced,
with this.
they're going to college.
That-
They significantly have altered their lives to put them in these positions that they're going to be more passionate about.
Yes.
You know,
I'm just
the,
I hear what y'all are saying. I'm just saying as
The Mexican Joker
yeah.
era.
Yeah. So I'm just saying from the millennial standpoint, we had all that shit too. With the Bush era stuff, you know, coming out. Like we had a lot of that stuff coming out during
And like Jay said,
during our stuff
9/11,
too.
which is-
Is just now that it's really pushed because of the access to social media. We were rapping about these kinds of things. You just had to be in tune with the artists that were rapping about that stuff.
Well, and not to cut you off, but just to say, like, so, you know, Green Day had, you know, a phenomenal project that came out shortly after When September Ends. You know, that was phenomenal. I mean, for all of us. I mean, Jake, how old are you?
So I'm 26. So I can give a good.
And that's
view.
the show, guy. no, I'm just kidding. But no,
I can give a view into that younger millennial because I'm still
exactly
a millennial.
because that obviously you're young enough to recall 9/11. And also, you probably remember more of Green Day's "When September Ends" the single because from a radio, you know what I'm saying. And so you can experience that, and you're seeing it visually. And obviously, now everything that has happened since then pushed forward. A lot of the generation that is coming up, and I'm speaking to the Gen Z.
Okay.
exactly.
Is you know they learn about 9/11, but all of us are old enough and we're young enough to experience 9/11.
Yeah.
But now this generation has experienced school shootings, you know, more of the
I see
fake
what you're
news
saying,
and
where-
stuff like that. And that's,
Where the topic is going to be pushed in 2020. I thought you were like disregarding.
No.
What?
No.
in
I'm
that
saying
gap
there's like
from
a
2010 to 2014.
20 like
what we
it-
were experiencing was
no,
tapering
no,
off.
no.
Okay.
I'm saying that there's been more of a more visual and more impactful stimuli in the last 5 years, as opposed to the previous 5 years. You know, from someone who's like 10 to 18 or 11
I
to
would
18 or
definitely
whatever.
say that as like I was the generation before this Gen Z generation came up, and it was like whenever I was graduating, there was the housing market crash that was rough, but it was like okay, there's nothing big going on.
You're more of the generation where like a lot of people were stop lost. You know, where
It
we're
was
in the
big
middle.
to Gen Z. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It depends
Like,
on what generation you're talking
and
to.
it does-
yeah.
yeah.
It wasn't big to Gen Z because they weren't entering into the job market. They weren't, but to people like you, Zach, and myself, like that shit hit hard. And when people would speak on that, and
Like I said, I was a sophomore. I was a sophomore. You were a junior. 2001.
No, I was a sophomore. I 2002. I was.
Oh, so
a
maybe
junior.
Freshman.
You were a freshman.
Yeah.
Oh, I had you younger
I
than
was
me.
a-
So
I was
you're
a
younger than me.
sophomore. Yeah.
So, however, we're in high school. Significant impact because we all came to school that day.
Yeah.
And if your high school was like mine, we didn't do anything. We watched the coverage entire day because it was a historic moment. You were
See,
probably working like fifth grade.
I was in third grade, and I was taken home for the day, and I got to watch it on the TV at home.
Yeah, like imagine that. Like because now you are.
It
Unless
scared
you-
people.
It did scare. I mean,
It scared
it's-
me as a kid, but we didn't really know what was going on as a kid.
We
Y'all
absolutely
had more of a
understood
window.
what had
Absolutely
happened
knew what was
and could
happening. and it was
process that.
It was even scarier because I think
You knew.
But
knew
no,
stuff.
yeah, that's 2001. I'm trying to get to back to that gap,
The
that
initial
2010 to 2014
But
gap.
okay,
Where
after Obama got into office, after he kind of did the stimulus package and was like, all right, everything's going to be okay, it felt like the things that were going on were all undercurrents. They weren't out in the forefront.
the Black Lives Matter thing
That
was
wasn't
like,
until like 2014, 2015, though.
Yeah.
That was near the end of that.
I mean, black people were immediately talking about
all
like,
in the undercurrents.
It wasn't pushed to where it was such
Where it is now.
like we didn't have Stand with Blue in 2011. We had it more like 2015.
There's no thin blue line back then.
And that's what I'm saying. Like that, there's just a gap where things are not affecting or not as impactful to the younger generation as the previous 5 years. I'm not saying that there's not things that we can. I'm not negating history between 2010 to 2015.
Okay.
I'm saying that there's more insightful and more impactful things that have happened in the previous 5 years as opposed to the first 5 years of this decade. And that it is interesting to me, and this is not a generalization. It's interesting to me to see how this is going to impact like music creativity as a whole to find out who it is.
I guess my point to make is that those things shaped the things that begin to happen in the late half of the decade. Yeah, despite them being undercurrents or whatever, they ended up shaping the way that things go. They brought to the forefront of the problems that we now have. So anyway, yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you all. I'm just trying to speak up for that later half. Oh man, that door shut pretty hard.
Wow.
And he edited that out. So hey, Jake the Snake is out. We appreciate him coming through. He had to go. He's got to get his party on and whatnot. And we appreciate him dropping such knowledge and really pushing this podcast forward. I think we might have a fourth member to the podcast if that man is available.
We may.
Yo,
we may have a fourth member.
The initial conversation I had with the man, I was like, "Yo, are you free to record?" Like, I saw it happen, and it's bringing really good content. So,
But here's the thing: much like our first episode, there's a lot of knowledge and stuff like that. He gets tested around like episode 4 and 5.
As new music starts rolling out, we'll see where it is.
Wait, like I said, it's easy to kind of put face when you only have one episode.
So
like I said, this is the season finale. This isn't the pilot. So
it's beautiful. I think we need to go ahead and now that we've made that shift, we got off on a hell of a tangent, bro.
We did.
Holy shit.
We did. I mean, like I said, when we add more people to the show, we're obviously going to.
That was a hell of an eighth wonder right there, man.
There you go.
Wow.
I'm
going to bring back that old wow.
This is the season finale,
So that was, Zach and Jake's, top 10. Bro, I'm trying to hear yours, man.
Am I going in?
That's you, man.
you
Sometimes you gotta have to save the best for last. So you already know what's about to happen.
Yeah, you gotta save the best smoke for last. That's what it is.
If you feel that way, let me know.
It's gonna be tough to give you smoke on yours, man. But because I
got know you're looking at this and like, oh,
we got a lot of similar ass projects in ours, man. And I
really wish you would have used the Google Docs instead of the Google spreadsheet.
I went hard on mine. I put little images of the album in mine. Yo, my shit's like color coded from like the name of the artist.
Wait, scroll all the way down for just a second. Let me see that.
I'm kind of like.
Is that no? Go back right there. That's your number one, or is it?
No, my shit's not in order at all.
Oh,
does that say lamb over rice?
Yeah,
lamb?
No, it's lamb. Give me the. Can I
Go
have
down.
that? Can I have the keyboard there?
Yeah.
Let me get because mouse is like sensitive as shit.
This is going to be an interesting top 20-30.
Yeah, I didn't do mine in order, so don't get it twisted, bro.
How are you going to keep this all together?
I'm not. I'm probably just gonna. I'm random as fuck, so I'm just gonna give mine.
have like
Look
a number.
at you, lamb over rice.
That's lamb. It's just the font, bro.
What? Well, I'm
Yeah.
blind.
Yeah, you are. You the one. Y'all both
You're
wearing
right,
glasses. Is you know what I'm saying? I got this class. I even put the cool thing about mine. Like I put UK artists. Like I went international, a little international with my shit. So
Mine doesn't have that.
I think you got one. You got one.
Oh, this is gonna be so good.
Pardon me, I'm gonna be in the kitchen chopping vegetables for this crock pot.
Y'all gotta keep it to a tight 20.
Yeah. I am going to start off with
I'm gonna give you a 2-minute warning and a 1-minute warning.
A 2-minute warning going through my shit. Okay.
Yeah, we'll do 15 minutes max a piece.
Okay.
Just so you can edit.
It's gonna be like I said. This is gonna be hard for you.
So I'm gonna start off with number one because I pushed this guy for. I know you like to do yours in reverse, but I'm gonna start off on the top on mine.
Do you want to put it in the order before you start?
Fuck no. I'm just gonna do it, bro. I don't give a shit. I think my list is dope, no matter what. So I think I'm gonna start with number one for mine because I pushed this guy the entire year. And he's my man, and
since episode 1,
he's come since episode 1. Thank you, Zach. Since episode 1, I've been on my boy Benny, the motherfucking Butcher, and the plugs I met.
Okay,
album is dope. I continually listen to it. It's on almost every playlist I have.
Oh, hey, all right, save it for the
Okay. Okay, and then
you could do a mark.
All right, and then I'm gonna go.
We'll let Trey bring you in.
I'm gonna go into. I remember talking about this album heavy when it dropped, and I was like, "Yo, is this gonna be my number one? Is it gonna be?" But it didn't. Just randomly was still like high up there, and I just remember it really well. Big Crit's album, Crit is Here, fucking fabulous album. So I'm gonna go ahead and shift on down to Little Brother. I really enjoyed the album. I really enjoyed the skits. The music made me laugh. It was great hip hop, great beats, and I really enjoyed that. So shifting on from there, I think because of what Spotify did to me, I'll just go ahead and throw The Alchemist up there for Yacht Rock 2. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the production on there. Great beat selection on there. Then I'm going to hit Jaydubya, 85 to Africa on there. Like, once again, it's no in particular order. These are just albums, the way that I just going through the list. I really enjoyed Novelist a lot. And Metal Face Hokage. I'm a big nerd. I love anime. I love
putting it lightly.
Star Wars. Real light.
Just casually.
Real.
Speed bump in the road, man.
Huge nerd.
It's not like my core being or anything.
It is the SME.
Mildly just an exit ramp off the highway.
Nerdcore to the fullest. Love this album. And the production on it is really well. He's so freaking far underground that I don't think people
couldn't even give him a shovel to.
Yeah. He's part of a group called Soul Force. Amazing group in itself. But he put out some solo projects, so it was really nice. Gonna go ahead and do Rhapsody. She, if I really was putting this list in order, she would probably fall into number 2 or 3 for me. I really enjoyed her project, and you've heard us talk about her extensively. I really enjoyed Choosy and Exile. We know Exile from working with Blue really, really well. And
Below the Heavens is probably one of the classic hip hop albums.
And the album is called Black Beans, and it was nice infusion of that Latino and African American vibe. So Afro Latina, I think that's what you would call it. I think he did a really nice job in blending the cultures together and putting that on the album. You can even see it on the album cover. He's got a picture of his father on there, and he's sitting on his lap, like one of those old school 80s photos there. So I thought that was really dope. Going on there, I also put A$AP Rock and Tobacco on there with Malibu Kin. Great album. Gonna hit Murs and Ninth Wonder. And if you don't know about Ninth Wonder,
You don't know about Murs,
Yeah,
man.
you don't know about Murs comes from along, and that album was called The Iliad is Dead and the Odyssey is Over. Freaking pure hip hop, pure production. I think Murs
Super introspective, super conscious, super very just. I mean, all of his projects are just like diving deep.
yo, the lyricism on this album will just take you above and beyond where you thought that lyricism can go. So great album in that. My boy YBN Cordae made the list with Lost Boy. You know, yeah, I'm a big YBN Cordae advocate, and so yeah. And then I even got a Texas artist on here, straight from H-Town, Maxo Cream, with Brandon Banks. It was a great album. He came to Austin. I didn't get to make that concert. And I think this album really put him on the map for a lot of people. The one before that was really good. And if you haven't checked out Max O'Cream from H-Town, great artist. Even Footer knows about Max O'Cream. So I was like,
Yeah,
what?
Yeah, he does.
Gangstar made the list because classic.
Gangstar made the list because you're friends with me.
Gangstar made the list because it's hip hop.
Gangstar made the list because you're friends with me.
Okay. I was on Gangstar before I met you. I just want to let that know with the record. He told me the album dropped, right?
It's true.
He told me the album dropped. I wasn't aware of it dropping because I felt like it kind of came out of the blue for me. But I understand it's been in the making for a while. But one of the best yet. So Gangstar made the list for me. I was in DC when I was jamming it.
It took all that for you to accept it.
Nah. I was around a lot of black people, and it was really great.
It takes all that?
Nah, it doesn't. That amplified it for me, bro.
Okay. I'm just, like I said, you're getting defensive. I'm just making statements.
You making
trying
statements.
Trying to get
that inflection in your voice. You need to calm down over there.
Okay. Man, I'm sipping tea and water over here. It's fine.
Okay. One of the other artists that I pushed, one of the first episodes, if you remember, Sky Zoo, my boy Sky Zoo, got with a super producer, Pete Rock, and Retropolitan was a great project from Sky Zoo, and I enjoyed that very, very much.
I enjoyed the throwback production on that.
Yeah, man, you can't go wrong with Pete Rock. Danny Brown made the list. Like, you know what I'm saying? I thought that it was a trippy album, as usual, given from Danny Brown. I love that weird abstractness of a hip hop album, and Danny Brown was able to deliver that to me as he always does. I was a latecomer to the Danny Brown scene, and once I really dove into him, I really enjoyed his music and just his voice alone. You can't miss it. Going on down, Freddie Gibbs and Madlib, Bandana made the list. If I was ranking albums, it would definitely fall in my top 10. Actually, probably top 5. That was a dope project. And Freddie Gibbs is because of you, Trey. I'll give that one to you.
Freddie came, man.
Yeah.
Gangsta Gibbs.
I was not up on Freddie Gibbs as I should have been, So that I give you credit where credit's due, though.
I give you credit for being on my
try to
list
play
as well.
me on no Gangstar shit. Lizzo, Cause I Love You made the list. Lizzo made a huge splash this year. From leaving her off of any list would be a sin.
Oh, Big J, big pun, huh?
Yeah. It'd be a sin, And my boy, your old Droog, your old friend, it wasn't even close. Like, dude is dope. I love his voice. He sounds like Nas to me on it. And then also because he chooses these crazy European beats from like Eastern Europe. I really love like gypsy style beats, but with dope ass production. He is a true New York hip hop artist in the same frame that you would probably put Action Bronson, I think. So he's really underground, really dope projects. All of his projects I've thoroughly enjoyed. If you haven't listened to Your Old Droog, go listen to this album and then go to the back catalog and you'll be thoroughly impressed by his work. And then I had to put Benny on there twice because he put out so much work And Smoke Dizza and Benny the Butcher put out a project called Statue of Limitations.
That one's hard too.
It's so hard, man. And Smoke Dizza puts out so much work. It was only right for the two of them to get together and just it seemed like a throwaway, but it was just so hard. And that's one of the ones that I constantly have on repeat. And then going across the pond, another female artist made my list. Lil Sims, Gray Area. Very
project.
Very
It's a good
underground.
project.
Very underground too. She's not completely new to the scene. I would say this is probably her second album that she put out, but this is her standout album, and I'm sure all my people from across the pond will agree with me that this album went hard in the paint. And then of course I had to put my boys Clipping on there because it was such a crazy album. It was so different from everything that came out this year. It was so abstract and stimulating to my imagination. Just even the ending track with the 18 minutes of just a piano burning was dope. That took me back to some shit that you would think of on The Shining, right? Just it made me feel like I was watching that movie, just listening to the piano burn. And then artists that I kind of discovered this year dropped a little mixtape that was really dope. David Bars, I think he's a dope MC from New York too. He goes hard. My uncle really liked him too when I introduced him to him, and he goes really hard as well. And then my boy Action Bronson, Lamb Over Rice.
It made it, huh?
It made it. Yeah, beautiful album, linking up with The Alchemist and them doing their thing. Tyler the Creator, Igor made the list as well. Enough's been said about that album. I don't need to go into it much further. And I think that wraps it on up for me, bro.
Well, despite it not being
In
in
order.
any particular order, who would you put at number one?
Number one.
What album did you listen to the most?
Benny the Butcher.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Benny the Butcher. Number one for me.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and take the mantle. All right.
Yeah.
Benny the Butcher's on almost every
yanking,
album.
I'm yanking the mic out of your hand.
On every album.
Trey's over
Benny
there
Butcher's probably on
vibrating.
at least two of the albums that Trey's gonna mention.
No, they're on like four of them. They're on four of them, but it's fine. It doesn't even count. You know what I mean? So
starting at 25, Trey,
yeah, absolutely.
give us the correct answers to top 25 for this year.
Okay, yeah.
It just shows you how random I am in the way I go.
So here's the thing.
25.
Yeah. So
you
number
know,
25, Joel Ortiz. Big fan of Slaughterhouse. Monday was the project.
Really, bro.
Hey,
Joel Ortiz.
Real quick. Really, bro. Joel Ortiz. Monday.
He's a spitter, but I think this album missed its mark, man. But go ahead.
Okay. Number 24, Jim Jones, El Chapo, which this album should be a lot higher, but because I discovered it late is the only reason why it's up where it is.
I'll let you slide on this one because I didn't listen to it.
Okay. And then, like I said, that's fine. 23, Big Crit. Crit is here. And here's the thing. I have to penalize it because
You can see my face right now.
Oh,
The emoji face.
but here's the thing. He released the TDT, and 5 of the songs are on the album that he released on that EP. And I get that, but like you're not gonna like double up on me.
I want it to be known for the record, like Trey is the biggest Big Crit fan
I am.
out here, and for it to be 23 is shocking to me.
He's up on the 25 based off merit alone.
Okay, yeah, I mean, yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like you released 2 projects and 5 of them are on the first one.
that's true.
So
I mean,
like I said, Big Homie, Currency, and Static Selected, Gran Turismo.
I have no problem with that.
Of course you don't. Hardest working man in hip hop.
Yo,
Hardest working man in hip
Working
hop.
with Static Selector too,
Yes.
one of the
Come
greatest
on.
producers in the game.
Number 21, Apollo Brown, Sincerely Detroit, because of obvious reasons.
Hard hip hop.
I mean, like I said, when
Honorable.
you get every artist that came out of Detroit on your album, and like I said, the album's like 8 hours long. You got to do a shift. listen to this project.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's quality. Apollo
Mints.
Brown likes to take his time with everything like that. And to get that many people and for it to sound very eclectic and no one really feels out of place and stuff like that, that's an accomplishment. So I'm celebrating that project.
No smoke here.
No
Yeah.
smoke.
Number 20, Missy Elliott, Iconology. But here's the thing. I'm a huge Missy Elliott fan.
I am too.
See how you let that wet butt.
Been a fan for years. So, she makes a list just based off merit.
I can't give you any
Maybe
smoke for Missy. Missy's
She'd be my top.
She's
10.
she's a goat.
Yeah.
She's a goat.
I watched the MTV Awards and they spent like 5 minutes, 10 minutes talking about just her contributions alone. And the fact that she's able, given with her hearing disability and stuff like that, and able to, make music and things like that.
Yeah, I have.
It's phenomenal.
Overcome a lot.
She is a goat. She set the pathway for a lot of these.
I'm like I said, I'm gonna give her roses while she's still here, man. I'll give her balloons when she leaves us.
Sure.
She's definitely unmistakably Missy Elliott.
Yeah. So next one, 19, Nas Lost Tapes. And now I know you have a problem with this, but here's the thing. You're a fan of B-sides, right?
Yeah.
These are B-sides. It's Lost Tapes.
Yeah, but
They don't have to be hits.
nah, they weren't at all.
So the thing about this, I enjoy this project more than Nasir, which was last year's.
Yeah. I'm just saying these tapes could have stayed lost.
They could. I enjoy this project. There's tracks that could be throwaway, but more than half.
The first lost tape was
Yes, because they were actual lost tapes. They were actual lost
I was
tapes.
like, where did these come from?
It's
no,
because excuse me.
he had to do it. I understand he had to do it after the Ye project.
This one, like I said, there's gimmicks to it. There was a big social media push. He had like the little pottery that they had sculpted and how it like kind of like was blowing off dust. And like I said, there's gimmicks to it. There's huge gimmicks to it. But at the same time, new Nas and new classic Nas is always great. Al Jarreau is probably one of my favorite tracks on that album and stuff like that. I'm always appreciative when he can take it back and kind of, be reminiscent of the sound of the time of the theme that he tries to do. So it made the list. Okay. I know a couple people, D, will back me up on that.
Yeah, D has some choice.
Yeah, I really hope D listened to the last episode because there are facts on the last episode.
Yeah, you gave him a shout out.
Yeah, I did. Number 18, Malibu Kin.
Enough has been
Aesop
said.
Rocky and Tobacco.
Yeah.
We talked about that today.
You are the reason I have it on mine.
Absolutely. Like I said, it's a good project. It's abstract. It's going to be different from the norm. But if you are tolerant of the themes and things like that, and you can pull that out of the project, you'll appreciate it for what it's worth.
Yeah, I love that abstract. That's my shit. That's
Absolutely.
my jam. That's my jam.
I'm going to take it. Number 17, a recommendation based off your, group chat. YBN Corday, Lost Boys. He's coming.
He's
I don't
coming.
know, so I think we'll
Just
be
like
there.
Butcher.
Yeah. Butcher coming. So, dope project. Not expecting that.
Yeah.
The fact that I played it as much as I did was very not expected because, I don't mess with the youngins.
Yeah, that
But yet
Thanksgiving
he-
song too was appropriate in the last month. Yeah.
I feel that it's important that it's on your list because it is something Jay has given to you.
And here's the
And
thing.
y'all get that back and forth.
This is proof. And we're gonna actually frame this list because this will be proof that I actually listen to the stuff that you drop in the group chat.
I do too, Jay. Not all of it.
Not all of it.
Not
No,
one
no.
man can.
There's one list that's in the bone barrel that we set on fire at the end of the week, and then there's this one that actually be framed. Then be like, Jay came through with this one.
Yeah, sometimes I drop some shit. I was like, I probably shouldn't have dropped that in there. I listened to the rest of it,
Just like-
like the first 3 hit, and
then I'm like, Jay, you have to plug the headphones into the phone in order.
yo, that's fair. That's fair. I do
You
that.
got to make sure that
I
it's
smoke
actually
myself. I smoke myself.
Doing his
sometimes.
workout, just listening to it on speaker. That's a good trick.
Yeah.
Send that immediately
that.
to Trey
Yeah.
before listening to it again.
Yo, Trey, this is flames right here. I'm like, yeah, man, I set it on fire. Number 16, Rick Ross, Port of Miami, for the return of the big bosses.
Yeah.
So like I said,
That was a long time coming, so I appreciate that.
it was,
being on there.
and I was listening to the Library on Shuffle and Maybach Music off this album, Maybach Music 6, I believe.
Yep.
John Legend on that one.
Yeah.
That's just a classic sunroof back. I felt like I was just in Miami on that one. So, it just
definitely gives that vibe to you. Yeah.
Absolutely. It took me back. Number 15, Dreamville, Revenge of the Dreamers. I mean, new J. Cole really kind of highlighting and showcasing the talent that's coming out of that label. You and I, we've talked about JID, we've talked about Earth Gang, we've talked about
There's so
Boz.
many. Yeah,
We've seen Boz.
Oh,
We've
Boz.
I mean, the whole DaBaby has a good verse off that on the intro track. I mean, it's just so
He
much.
went right in, did he? He didn't even let it breathe.
Didn't even. No, he'll never let it breathe. There's no oxygen tank on that track. But I mean, at the same time, considering it's a compilation album, which usually I'm not a fan of, it takes a lot. Probably maybe since the Rough Rider albums.
Oh man, dang!
You know what I'm saying?
Dragon. Like, oh yeah. Okay.
So it's been a
That
while.
was Jay shit.
Yeah. So what it takes in order to get a compilation album out that actually can make
that can hit.
the list. So I'd put that up there with that one.
with radio tracks.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's hard. That's hard.
True.
So like I said, I always try to give credit where credit's due. Right here, number 14.
The butcher's coming.
Butcher coming. Benny the Butcher, Plugs I Met. I mean, off recommendation alone, this project is done. Yeah. And then seeing him live, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
I can't, man. Like, I wear my Scully like halfway down over my eye, like when I listen to this album. Like, it's just, I just love
so hard.
It's fun
so
for
hard.
me seeing like how far you've come with Benny the Butcher. I'm so surprised it's that far up your list because of like the first episode to now where you were like, it's all right, but I didn't really.
You had to experience this album. You had to see him on stage. You have to understand like the story that he tells.
It's so hard. That's
I mean, and like even my boy Steph, man. Like I sent it to him the Pusher feature, which him and I. So
I'm not good at naming tracks off of albums, but Benny the Butcher.
Yeah. So here's the thing about Steph. Me and my buddy Steph, we used to work at the Smokehouse. We got fired together for reasons that will not be touched on this episode.
7 years haven't passed.
Not
important.
It's not important. We ended up. I rolled burritos at Chipotle for a brief amount of time, and it's significant to me because that made me and Steph very close. He was he arguably was the best man in my wedding. I can't give him the official title because my brother was in my wedding as well.
Yeah.
And there was the question of who was the best man, and I looked at my brother like, well,
because you have.
Steph's here too. I was like, Steph's here too. So he's just as much as a brother as you were.
Yeah.
And Steph is my age. My brother's 5 years younger than me, and I've only known Steph like 10 years.
Yeah.
But we have a love for Clips. We always had. So Clips, Re-Up Gang, which is Pusha T, Malice,
Hard.
Sandman,
Cocaine
and I
talk,
Live. Yeah. It's just cocaine talk. And him and I, sometimes we just send lyrics back and forth from the Re-Up Gang, volume 1 through 3.
Yeah.
We just, it's like,
We used to do that with Cuddy.
yeah.
I was literally gonna say the same thing about Cuddy. Like that's Cuddy for me is because like we bonded a lot.
Oh, like we send stuff, and there's just like, push powder like Maybelline. Like what? Like that's the type of stuff we'll send each other, and we'll just die laughing.
Yeah.
So the fact that Pusher was on the Benny the Butcher project and the verse that he has on there, I was like, yo, you gotta check out Benny the Butcher. But here's this push track, and he was like, it's tough. I'll check out the project.
Yo, we got a little green light.
We got him,
man.
So yeah. So like I said, I like that you had been pushing it for it. It was an opportunity for me to kind of ease into the project. Yeah. He's hard, man. I'm looking for project every time. Him and Conway the Machine, man.
Yeah, Conway.
The two.
Tuck our side of his mouth like that, man.
I don't care because he was shot.
Yeah.
He was shot in the mouth.
Yeah, still go hard, man.
Yeah. So I mean, dope project. Number 13, which is kind of a surprise.
That's a very small surprise.
2
right?
Chainz, rapper, go to the league. But here's the thing. Titty Boy, as he's known in his former life, has always been a dope MC to me. His,
Remember having a conversation with you that I told you that 2 Chainz was one of the most slept on.
He is.
Yeah.
Isn't he like one of the highest paid like producers too?
No, don't say.
Okay.
I'll edit that out.
Yeah, we'll knock that right on down.
Psych.
Pause for the edit. Or just to bring smoke.
Yeah.
No, so look, there's a lot wrong with this project. From a few features that we have already discussed in the group chat and stuff like that. But as a cohesive project, listen to it recently within the last 2 weeks. There are a lot more things that I like about the project because what tends to happen when you expect something out of an artist and you don't get that, it immediately turns you off. And once you listen to it a couple more times, let it soak in a little bit, you can appreciate for what the project was going for. Now, one thing that I hate about this is that it's produced by LeBron James, which if you live in a village similar to M. Night Shyamalan tried to paint, you'll know that LeBron James is a basketball player.
Yeah.
So
this album was kind of cool to me because it was right around the time Zion was doing his thing, right, too. So I understand where it was coming from as well. The first track started off so hard.
Yeah.
Even the second one. And then he just slipped back. I thought we were going to get a 444 from 2 Chainz at that point. And then he just slipped back into the old 2 Chainz. Nothing wrong with that.
But there is a pocket that he's just comfortable in.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But, as artists get older, we expect for them to give us a little more introspective of where they're going from where they came from.
Hey, here's the thing. In the last year, he's had another season of Most Expensivest.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think he has a format that he feels that works.
Yeah.
And I'll credit him that.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm fine with you putting it on the list, but I feel some type of way about it because what I was expecting.
It wasn't Boats too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
it just wasn't. And like I said, because of the high that we had from the last one, that's what I was ready for. I was like, rapper go to the league.
Yeah.
Oh, I know this one's going to jam, and it does. But there are some throwaways. There's some B-sides. To take the vocabulary off of you for a second. So. Yeah, but at the same time, I think it is a dope project. There's a lot of dope features that you really kind of have to pay attention to. Yeah. And it's very unorthodox to what you're used to hearing from some of the artists that are featured on it, minus the Anne-Marie sample that Foda and I will probably cringe at every time we hear why you would get Ariana Grande to replace Anne-Marie. And then to even further
that's a sin.
It is. But even to push that forward, when he performed it live, he got Anne-Marie. Which even
why
side
why
eyes.
Sway?
Yeah. So I don't understand it.
Yeah.
So to me, just that moment alone makes you you knew better.
Yeah, he knew better. It was sort of like 50 when he took old dude off of the intro and put Trey songs on there. You knew better than that.
Look,
put it back on.
Look, they made a solid argument. I said, let's try it. It didn't work out, and it's whatever.
Yeah, that was
we changed it. Right? What are you mad at?
Yeah,
the fact that you even tried, you thought to pull that shit in the begin with.
Put Joe back on, damn it. Yeah,
so
I get where you're going with that.
Absolutely. Man. Number 12, my brothers from North Carolina, LB, little brother. Ooh. May the Lord watch.
Yes.
Look, I'm a big fan of Fonte, rapper Big Pooh. It's comedy, it's hip hop. I think I've sent you that.
You be in,
yo man.
I think that's something we send each other back and forth.
Absolutely.
That's our thing.
Anytime that there's a headline that you and I both see eye to eye on, I'm sending you that little sound clip every time. I
appreciate that, man.
So, but lyricism is always on point, and I love how they blend the hip hop and comedy together. I just love.
I miss skits, man. And
I do, but I also miss it's intellectual hip hop. They make the sound, they make the songs that you can vibe to and stuff like that. But if you really kind of sit back and listen to this stuff, very thought provoking and stuff like that, with a little bit of humor, satire, undertone, which makes the album that much more funny. Obviously, the Minstrel Show is a classic album that
I feel like they just continue giving you that.
Yeah, and I understand as they grow as artists and they get bigger and stuff like that, it's hard to kind of keep that. And I'm glad that I would assume this is going to be the final project.
Yeah, I do too.
You know what I'm saying?
It's sad.
Just given the themes and stuff that they talk about, they're both successful independently, and Ninth Wonder is Ninth Wonder.
Yeah,
and even though this does not have any Ninth Wonder production, it's still a good album. Yeah. I still revisit it from time to time. It's up there. Didn't crack the top 10, but it's there.
May the Lord watch over those brothers as they continue.
And keeping with the God theme, Kanye West, Jesus is King.
Wow, top 10.
No, it's 11.
Oh, 11.
It's
okay.
11.
Okay.
Don't play me. Don't play me.
Oh, my bad.
No, it's outside.
I
it's
can't
just
count
outside.
nowadays.
Just outside.
Just outside. Here's the thing. Based off production alone and our fan to Sunday service, it was going to be high on the list. While he doesn't utilize Sunday service the way that I thought he would, it doesn't take away. Like I've talked about on the podcast, the way that it sounds, the way that it, is recorded and stuff like that. It's a very powerful record to listen to, especially with great speakers. And if you have like a wide range of speakers, you can really appreciate the dynamic sound that it took to record this album.
Absolutely, man. I told you, when the album ends and the way it ends and it just starts that track over again, like you have to listen to the whole thing over again and you get caught in a loop, man.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, it takes you, like I'm a person who grew up in the church, not necessarily am a religious person. I'm more of a spiritual person, but I can appreciate the themes of church. Yeah. And this is just a great project. Now, we've talked about Kanye today. I don't have to agree with everything, but I can appreciate him as a producer and an artist, and I respect the project. Yeah. That's why I made the list.
Okay. No smoke.
So, number 10, Czarface and Ghostface. Czarface meets Ghostface Killer. I mean,
you can't go
argue with me.
Nah, you can't
argue with me.
Shut up. I'll argue with you to shut up.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. We good?
Yeah. The top 10 is going.
Look, if you want grimy production, if you need Tony Starks, this is it right here.
Yeah, I just love the theme that Czarface
does. The other one that I did not put on here that I would put in one of my honorable mentions, and there are some up here that I would name, is Ghostface Killer Lost Tapes, which is another good project. Given how many projects that we've talked about throughout the year, Ghostface Lost Tapes is a good project too.
I remember when it dropped and just you dropped it in there, and I was like, I just can't stop listening to it.
So Supreme Clientele, Ghostface Killer is probably like my favorite album, like of all time. Like I love that project. So this one's good too. Czarface meets Ghostface. Schoolboy Q, number 9, coming with Crosstalk. We talked about this maybe off camera, and because of the Mac Miller death, it's
Mac Miller, Nipsey, it affected him.
Yeah. Look, man, I mean, he lost his homies, but at the same time, he still put together a solid project. Like we were talking about earlier, Oxymoron is someone who's really trying to like find that high. Blank Face is someone who's kind of in that high and kind of starting to come down. And then Crash Talk is really someone like really
coming down.
Yeah, coming down and starting to really deal with the reality of the situation and stuff like that. And being so much that he's involved with the gang culture and this loss and, stunner mentality and stuff like that he kind of projects on. Like, this is a very somber album, but at the same time, he doesn't drop his quality that he always kind of pushes out toward the masses. So it's good. Big fan of this album, Yum Yum Juice, Black Folks, Water.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just a lot of projects that, I love to listen to.
I like that you have some albums that came out really early this year that like March, April, even February area that still made your list because they seemed like so long ago, but it still made the list.
And a lot of times I have to go back and check the release date because there's one down here a little bit further down that I thought might have missed the cut, but you brought to my attention.
Yeah.
Number 8, I would say Meg Thee Stallion Fever. I got to give her props. She
splashed.
Big splash. My wife wouldn't be able to let me sleep next to her at night if I didn't say her name because trust me,
she's grinding.
Oh man,
Yeah.
you know, anytime I'm in her car and I start that engine, typically I'm going to listen to some Meg Thee Stallion.
Yeah.
It's already on there. The CD is in there. It's playing loud. It's bumping. It's
And I
doing
love
everything.
that her and Cardi can live in the same space, like another female artist in the scene.
I think as much as I think the misconception is that they're the same, but they're different because, you know, Cardi's more of an East Coast rapper. You know, Meg Thee Stallion is a solid down south rapper, and I think that's why they're able to occupy the same space.
Well, that they get along. Like, you know, whenever we first started, I felt like that there could only be one female artist, you know.
Is that your point? Like they're not competing for the same.
Now they still have that.
I think Cardi is like, so the problem that I had with Nicki Minaj, and we were talking about this earlier today, is Nicki Minaj can actually rap, but yet she went down the avenue of pop. So anyone else coming in as a rapper, she took offense to. But like I've said on this podcast before, you can rap. You want to push people out of your lane, then just rap.
Just rap.
You
All
could
we wanted in the first place.
lyricism alone, you could wrap circles around, but you chose your avenue. And when you want to rap, it's great. What I didn't say earlier, Truffle Butter, when she actually rapped on that, that was a huge single for her. They're like, yo, she snapped on that. She's capable of that.
Yeah.
She can do that anytime she wants. But she chose the pop route.
Yep.
Cardi B came out and she said, I'm going to wrap circles around you. And granted, it's not Nicki Minaj bars when she was rapping, but it's rap. And so Nicki Minaj trying to double back, it makes you look some type of way.
Right.
Yep.
So Cardi B, she hasn't changed the format. She's always, you know, she snaps on people. Obviously the Bruno Mars Finesse track that came out last year that really skyrocketed her career and stuff like that. So you got Meg Thee Stallion said, I can do the same thing, but I can bring a Southern vibe to tracks and stuff like that.
Much needed.
You know, Cardi B just gets along with everybody. She's got no beef with anybody, except for Nicki Minaj, but rightfully so.
So, yep.
Because it's
So-
in
Try
defense.
to stifle. She tried to stop her
but that's the thing,
bags, too.
yeah, you're trying to get out of the way. Like you could have cornered this market for as long as Lil' Kim did.
Long
You
as
just
Missy
chose a
did.
pop route.
Yeah.
You chose a pop route. That's no one else's fault but you. Whoever chose to make that decision.
Yeah.
If
You had
you-
one of the greatest lyricists behind you, Lil Wayne. So
Yeah.
you did what you did. You had
So-
Drake in your corner. Like, you made
I
your choice.
like I said, I understand that I could be biased sometimes about her, but at the same time, when she does rap, because I listened to Truffle Butter like 5 times straight, and I'm like, what? This is what you can do every track.
Yeah.
I feel like that's fair coming from that
Yeah, that track
standpoint.
was
Like,
smooth.
You know, like if you compare Super Bass to Truffle Butter,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
So, like I said, I think Meg Thee Stallion is able to flourish just because of the person that really holds the mantle is really not trying to like hold it. She's more or less trying to lift people up. And I think Nicki was really just trying to like sit on the throne and
to
keep
share it.
people. Yeah. Cardi doesn't care. She knows it's a blessing. We all know that Cardi B is probably a short-lived, you know, queen of hip hop.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she's
Actually
all about
coming-
women empowerment and stuff like that. And I think, you know, Nicki tried to do that towards the end of her reign, but at that time, you know, Cardi was just coming up.
Yeah.
You know, Bodak Yellow was already out.
Yeah.
So, so like I said, shout out to Meg Thee Stallion. Number 7, Tyler the Creator, for reasons we already said. You know, like I said, it's inspired by NERD albums previous, and I think he did a good job. If you thought you were gonna get, you know, Flower Boy or Cherry Bomb or something like that, he switched it up on you.
He switched it up hella
And,
hard.
and yeah, and I think the project, like I said, this was gonna be my number 1 album when it first came out, but obviously a few more projects came out that were gonna deter that. And I honestly feel like the top 5 are pretty locked in, but number 6, DaBaby, Baby on Baby. And I put Kirk in that same realm because, again, I thought Baby on Baby came out in 2018. Apparently, it just made the cut for 2019, like we had talked about earlier in the show. And then Kirk is the most recent one, and there's still songs on there. So I think
He was
The
all
Baby-
over the place too.
yeah,
man.
I would say DaBaby is a top 10 artist of the year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'll put both projects together just to kind of make it hold water a little bit more than probably what it does independently with Kirk by itself or the baby by itself. It's like, oh, this shit came out in 2018. I'm like, well, the single dropped, but the album actually dropped in 2019.
Yep.
So, like I said, I'll put the two together in order to kind of give it the weight that it deserves. But the top 5's tough, man. And like I told you, it's been hard to shuffle this deck for a while, with the exception of one. But number 5, Lizzo. I mean, look, no pun intended, but that splash, that's a cannonball in the summer camp pool, man. I mean, you already know.
Big and beautiful, baby.
Yeah.
Show that ass.
There's no way that you can tell me that you can deny her. It'd be like last year when Cardi B dropped in. There'd be like no way it would be disrespectful to not give her the prop that she deserved.
You know what's disrespectful? You sending those images to D.
Look, I don't send anything that, like I said, if I see that you like something, I'm gonna make sure that you like it.
D, come get this, man.
I said,
those
when the nudes drop,
photos,
I just want to make sure that
I'm all for body
You're
positivity,
just,
but I'm just like, yo,
fact checking, right?
Oh yeah, I mean,
you need to go ahead.
Really, I'm only here for the fact checks.
Go ahead and drop them in the waterfall, bro.
Here's the thing: the fact that some of those pictures look like Ace Ventura coming out of the fake rhino.
Wow!
That's a vivid image.
Y'all seen Ace Ventura, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So, like I said,
nature calls.
The fact that maybe some of those look like that, and that's no fat shaming.
Yeah, no.
I'm just saying, you take pictures for a reason.
Mm-hmm. She know what she's doing.
No, you got millions of likes. I can make one comment. Don't judge me.
her. She's
Look,
living her
I'm a
best
fan
life
of the
right
music.
now.
I'm a fan of her personality and what she stands for as a woman.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk some shit.
Yeah,
let me
can
just talk
shit.
some shit. Let me talk some
You
shit.
talk some shit, bro.
So-
talk your shit.
I'll leave it at that.
Can I talk my
It's
shit?
coming from a place of love.
Yeah, absolutely. I've talked shit about maybe half of the people that we've put on the list this evening. So
And she's in your top 5. It's
Yeah.
undeniable where you're coming
yeah.
from.
I got a solid list. I put her where she belonged, in my
In
opinion.
the top 5 with people like Benny the Butcher, I mean, that says a lot.
I left it. Like I said, so don't cancel me just yet. Like I said, I sent some DMs to my boy, and I made some comments, and I gave you one comment.
No, the funny thing is he tried to slide it off real cool at the beginning. He was like, yo, anybody peeping for these? And we're like, hell no.
They were like, well, let me take a look at them.
Well, if they're already here.
Yeah. Like I said, that's the best part of a Discord channel. You get the notification. You don't know what it is.
You open it and you're like, no.
Oh,
Like,
80%
yo,
of
Trey,
the
this is the wrong channel. You can't
That
put this
Darth
in here.
Vader, no.
You gotta put that one in the lock channel.
Yeah. So she's number 5. Number 4, RIP Guru, Gangstar, one of the best yet. I mean, like I told you, I was on my way to Jamaica. Man, I listened to this album 2 times straight through.
We're both flying.
Oh, yeah, because you were going to DC?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, that came, one of the hardest things when you travel is like, man, I just want something good to listen to, get me through the flight. That's that.
Downloaded it so I could listen to it without any Wi-Fi or internet connection.
Best
just so I
part of
could
my
jam it.
phone, LG V series. It's got the hi-fi DAC built into the phone.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as you're plugged in with a headphone jack, it's perfect. I don't gotta listen to nobody sitting next to me. Shout out to my wife. And like I said, it's just good. Better dynamic range of sound. It sounds great. And for a flight, you already know, you got the pressurized cabin, engine noise, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's good to really kind of experience that sound. LG V series, man. That's the only phone I'll own.
That's coming from an audiophile, folks. So
Absolutely.
listen to it, and that's
Industry
So-
phones.
yeah.
Number 3, album of the year. It's the name of the tour. Bandana, man.
Made everybody's list, bro.
I think so.
Like
Wow.
I said, with the help of, one of the best promoters, I think, on the podcast. Easily one of the best promoters on the podcast. I told y'all
At
before
least top 3.
before it came out, I was like, y'all messing up.
Yeah.
Y'all better check for this album.
Yeah.
I see Freddie Gibbs twice this year. Yeah,
Like I said, it is what it is.
I feel like he's had longevity in the podcast as well.
Like I said, I just let the project speak for itself. If you hated it, there would have been smoke. And the only smoke that we have is that he doesn't play the instrumentals when he performs live.
Yeah.
But if you listen to NPR live or front Tiny Desk, he actually lets the beat play, which makes it for a good performance.
Yeah.
Which is what we originally said. So,
Right.
Album of the year for show. Number 2, and like I said, these two are interchangeable, but I don't want to be disrespectful.
We held
number
them in
2,
high regards when they came out.
Oh man.
Yes.
Number 2 is Jaydubya 85 to Africa. Like, it's my favorite album. I still waiting on my vinyl to come through. Not just the regular vinyl. I'm talking about the translucent orange vinyl that I ordered back in fucking August.
Wow.
And I'm like, I go to the leasing office like once a week. And I'm like, y'all got any packages? And like, no, trust me, we're ready. Like, as soon as we get it, we'll call you.
I think it's coming from Africa.
It has to be. There's no other reason why they haven't pressed this album yet.
Yo, they're taking the time pressing that album.
I honestly am just like waiting for this to like get in the collection.
That album's on BPT.
It is. There's no other excuse now.
Yeah.
I've seen you live. There was no vinyl for sale at the show for me to buy, so that I just wanted it in the collection. I paid for it. What the hell's taking so long? What the hell is taking so long?
Damn it, black folks, get on your shit.
Like I said, man, and I was on Instagram earlier and I saw him. He's performing in Africa, and I'm like, you're doing all that, but you can't send me something that takes like 10 seconds to
We
make.
should have gone up the stage
Make
and
a
like
call to your
backstage.
warehouse.
Can I get a backstage pass just so I can ask?
I'm
for
supposed to
my
get the orange translucent.
I came all the way to Africa to tell you need to start shipping out some records.
Jaydubya! Where's my special
It's
edition?
me, remember me.
Last but not least,
Wait, before you say this,
Yeah.
I do want to thank both of you because you both have kind of pushed Jaydubya pretty hard. And I'm glad you did, because once I started listening to it, I could not stop.
I think you have to, for a lot of people that might not have listened to it, the way I've explained it is, listen, there's some bullshit out there, and this is definitely an unorthodox album. But I think if you can let your mind let go of what you're used to listening to and really absorb it.
Try not to have any expectations.
Yeah, just I'm not giving you, this isn't All Eyes on Me. This isn't Ready to Die. It's not going to be something that's going to be necessarily quotable for like a mainstream thing. But if you can just like push expectation to the side, you can appreciate this album very quickly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember coming over and like Zach had a board game night and everybody had left and I was playing the album for him and Chauncey. I was like, yo, y'all got to peep this album, man.
Yep. I think that's really when I like dove into it at work, and then it just kind of like half of it ended up on my daily. And so when you were talking about it late in the most recent 2 podcasts, I hadn't quite like given enough respect to the whole album versus just the choice songs. So then I dove into it, and now I just listen to the whole album when I do listen to it.
And like I think it plays well because he's interracial, so he kind of messes with both sides of it, of how like he can be from someone who's pro-black, but he's biracial, but then also like giving into like the white privilege side of him, but also like not forgetting about that he comes from, of African descent.
It's really about getting back to your roots.
Yeah.
I think you
and
really
like
get
I
to
said,
that,
it's not necessarily about African roots. Like your roots can just be where like your father and mother came from. And I think he references that very well. And the styles of music that he uses, there's some blues on there. Obviously hip hop's the main theme. And I
Forget
think
that Afro beats, man.
I mean,
Heavy.
look, Caribbean Afrobeat vibes, especially on the first half of the album. I think it gets you dancing, gets you comfortable, but like after you get past the instrumentation and what he's actually saying, I mean, it's just a great project. I mean, how it's not in your top 5. If it's not, it's because you haven't listened to it. That, like I said, you're only putting it on your top list is because we've talked about it so much, or it's been talked about so much.
Yeah.
Janelle Monáe, signed him like on the spot when she heard him, and Classic Man is a classic album.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think there's a lot of themes on there that he talks about, and I think, he was definitely pushing a theme on the previous one. This one is a lot more balanced, because he knows how to make an album now and things like that. And I think that's why
Got
this
to
album
experience some life. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes that, we've talked about it on the show. Great project, but number 1, hands down,
That's rightfully so.
I mean, like I said, bow down when you see the Queen, because Rhapsody, off the intro alone, I think it'll have to be, like I said, Nina Simone and Rhapsody. Zach, did you listen to this project yet?
I didn't, and after tonight, you better believe I am.
It's hard. Like, here's the thing. I'll put it like this. Take the name of the project or the name of the track and see if you can match out the themes that she takes just by using the name of the project. Some of them are easy. Some of the other ones are a little bit more complex to get to, but one of the best things about the whole project is like the bars are there. The execution may dip on like maybe 3 or 4 songs. Jay, what do you think?
Yeah, but it comes right back.
Yeah,
Easily. Just trying to catch a wave.
trying
Trying to
to
catch a
wave.
wave. Yeah.
I mean, and like I said, the amount of people that really try to push this album forward, D'Angelo, GZA, J. Cole, obviously they're both from the Carolinas, so they have that that connection. But I mean, the last album was dope.
The last, yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I was not expecting it to be this hard. But I remember I saw E. I had to go to my job. E and I don't work together anymore. But I had to go to his location, and it was like a couple of days after Eve dropped. And I didn't get to like stop and talk to him the way that him and I usually vibe. And I called him the last time we recorded the last episode, like, yo, man, I need to hang, man. You and I need to get on the same page. But we saw each other, and he just gave me the screw face, and he didn't have to say anything else. I just knew what he was listening to. And that's when I knew that this was probably going to be the best album of the year, because he just looked at me. He was like, yo, ugh. And I was like, yeah, you've been listening to that Rhapsody, because it's hard, very introspective, very uplifting and things like that. I mean, the project is just amazing. Like,
yeah. The interludes, just
the poetry,
just flows so well. Like, I'm a Afro-American male, and it's strongly Afro-American female central, and I still feel empowered by that album. So for her to cross genders in that way and still make you feel powerful is just speaks volumes to what she was saying on the album.
I wanna read, one of the. I need to pull it up real quick, so you just have to give me a second. But so my favorite song on the album is Sojourner, which is her and J. Cole, and I just want to like read like the best part of the song for me, because it just lets you know like the type of come on.
Yeah, for me it's Ibtihaj. Like that hook we were just singing, trying to catch a wave.
Yeah,
she does a really good job of like taking me back to the youth, wearing the do-rag and trying to be fly or whatever, but having that, such a cool down woman look at you and say that, and not belittling you in any aspect, but also lifting you up on a pedestal at the same time, was just amazing. And then she goes into a track with the poet talking about the introspect of an Afro-American woman living the life and just not wanting to see her young males die in the street. And I mean, it was just amazing the way that she tied all that stuff together. And I'm not just saying that like, oh, it's great because she lifted up males. I'm saying that because the majority of the album is strictly pro Afro-American woman, and for her to blend that in together,
It's like it transcends.
It transcends itself. Exactly. And such powerful lyrics and moving out. Like I said, when the album dropped, I took the time in taking some of that poetry and that specific interlude and sending it to Afro-American women that are in my life that have,
I remember
like,
you mentioning that you sent it to your
being
mom.
I sent it to Brian's mom. I sent it to my friend Sade. Like, people that really did a good job and, looking out for us out here while, and it makes me realize that, while I'm out here, to make sure that I do the same for them. It reminds me
the icons that it makes you think of when you hear it.
Yeah. I was like, I have
awesome.
these important women in my life that I need to pay homage to at the end of the day that helped me become the person that I am today. So
That's powerful.
Yeah.
The album does that for you.
So like I said, the best verse, the Officer Joyner, is, and like I said, this is just off the second verse that she had. Where I'm from, we don't recognize that as good mad. If you don't teach the ones that's coming up to multiply their cash, think for themselves, think beyond sales. Everything with worth doesn't come with some whistles and some bells. I mean, just
everything that shine is
yeah.
gold,
I mean, yeah.
Actually,
But then and then like even down there, it's like schoolyard. How to make moves without using a U-Haul.
Oh,
I mean, that's
a hard line.
Like I said, I mean, I said this when we reviewed the album. She is perfectly fine putting the album out the way that it was and getting more recognition than sales, like, because that's just more important to her. Like, she wants to be one of the top MCs. She's not worried about how much it sells. She's more about the respect of it.
Spread her message.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I respect her more for, like, I was a fan of the last Layla's Wisdom. I was like, yo, this girl snapped. Like, I don't know what y'all did to her, but the next one's going to be tough. I did not think that this album would have been, last album I'll probably put in the top 10.
Yeah, the last album was dope. It was from the introspect of, as a black female, taking care of yourself. Like, take care of your mental space. Like, it was a message from her younger self to herself now.
Yeah.
That was great.
I mean, this album, she really wanted to let you know that she eats MCs for breakfast.
And
she even said it.
Yeah.
She said, like, I would love to, like, get in a rap beef with where she was at this point. And I'm all for that.
Me too.
Because I would love to see a male MC just get devoured.
Yeah.
Just straight up
destroyed. Yeah.
I mean, because
what a good time for it too.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, she's on her game. She's having a good, like, this project is amazing. The Sojourner, I listen to that probably a couple times a week, just because, like, it just reminds me of what we go out and do for. Not I mean, I'm not talking about, like, for the podcast, just to survive in general, like, just playing at a high level, maintaining at that high level, and just understand that there's always coming for you at your neck and stuff like that, and just being ready for anything.
I mean, it's been a long time coming.
Oh yeah. So I mean, like I said, it's just an awesome project. It's an awesome album. And if you're in the lyrics, I mean, you can appreciate that. Mm-hmm. And like I said, number one spot. A lot of people have it in the top 3. It's my number one.
That says a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And like I said, I like my reputation for hip hop albums that we've talked about to stand on record that I think I've made a nice cohesive list. I think if you listen to the other episodes, I'm pretty fair when it comes to a lot of the projects that come, minus when it comes to Black Thought. I'm going to overhype it. Like it's the best thing since sliced bread, but it's only because it is.
Yeah. He's my number one favorite artist of ever.
Yeah.
I would just like to also mention, if we haven't this podcast, that this is a list of 25 songs, which I believe you mentioned it in another podcast, that you've listened to damn near 200 albums this year, and this is the top
I-
25.
like I said,
Jay, I'm
like,
sure, is broken.
I knocked
over
it down
100.
so that like I said, like I want to bring legitimacy to what I listen to.
Right.
You know, and like I said, I understand because there was a conversation at work we had today, which I just want to bring up, that I don't play enough music at work for people to absorb. Not everyone listens to hip hop the way I do.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, the last thing I want you to do is to be trying to listen to music with closed ears.
You mean like they want to know about you through the music you listen to? Or
I
something?
mean, yeah. They were
Okay.
like, oh, well, Trey listened to Beanie the Butcher at work today. He's obviously selling drugs.
Oh.
And I'm like, well,
Well,
I
isn't
put
that
Rhapsody
some
as my number one.
sideways
So
shit?
clearly I'm working at a women's shelter, like trying to like save battered women.
right?
You know,
You're
if that's,
canvassing
yeah.
for
And then like I listened to A$AP Rock and Malibu Ken or Tobacco.
and just start cutting people's faces off.
Yeah, so I'm clearly doing acid and walking to work. You know, like it's
Which, you know,
yeah, and so
No.
like I said, there's no disrespect to the
No
people that I
shade.
work with, but at the same time, like if I felt like you were receptive to
Right.
everything that I listened to, I would play more stuff. But based on your selection, I don't want to put you in a mode that makes you uncomfortable because they know that we do this podcast and things like that. And a lot of the people that I work with, my coworkers and the employees I work with, they say they enjoy my podcast.
or sit there and have to explain something when they could just listen to the podcast.
So I had someone that I worked with for a couple years who was a stand-up comedian, and I take the conversation that he and I had as the same perspective I have since we started this podcast. We put this out as an opinion piece of what we're doing,
right.
and people who gravitate towards it, we appreciate everyone who supports it and subscribes to the channel. Like and
Absolutely.
subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
That
Hit that bell.
However, the last thing I want to do when I'm on someone else's time is to have someone else comment about what I've said and dissect it out of context.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so I
I feel the
was
same way.
yeah. And so
Like, because it's like blindsiding.
it is. And the thing was the conversation had started because my coworker, my buddy, he's a comedian, and he had a few of his older acts on YouTube, and I said, "Yo, I love this joke, blah 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 blah," but I wasn't putting the joke of what I liked about it into proper context because obviously he writes his material 15 minutes at a time.
Right.
So when I'm dissecting 2 jokes out of it, it insults him because he's like, "Well, did you it took all that to get to this. Like, did you not find?" And I'm like, no, that's not what I meant. I just wanted to, I was ultimately a fan, and I pulled out my favorite parts. And I wasn't trying to say that this was the funniest part of it. I was just saying, I really laughed hard at this point.
So he
And
took
he's-
it as like an
Well,
insult
no,
to his
no.
method.
He's super smart. He's super sharp. He understood what he said. But what he said was, I don't like when people kind of bring up my material because it's an act. It's all a rehearsed.
Mhm.
What he is on stage is not what he is on the street. You know what I'm saying? That's the character he plays on his thing. And I view the same for us. What we talk about is hip hop. You know, we kick back. We're obviously drinking. We let things fly and stuff like that. Not everything that we say on this podcast is meant to be taken in the literal sense.
Absolutely.
And so if someone were to take something that was meant as a joke, as something as law, it would probably make you feel some type of way.
Especially if you actually knew us.
Exactly.
think about
You
it.
know when we're serious and you know when we're joking. And especially if you worked closely with me, I always have, you know, the utmost respect for everyone I work with and things like that. And so for someone to try to take it as an opportunity to kind of put me down, I'm like, well, do what you got to do.
Mhm. If
But-
it makes you feel better.
Yeah. But I also wouldn't want to disrespect someone else's artistry.
Mhm.
And listen, if you're feeling that way about the podcast, you come talk to me.
Yeah.
Zach is
Like I
a
said,
man of
you know
many
what?
words.
You said
email me.
You said Jaden Smith was the best album of the year, and I went and listened to it, and it's like the 4th best album. Of the
Y'all
year.
don't bother these guys. Don't bother my talent.
It's easily the 4th best album.
Back in the day when we gamed, like Zach was our official shit talker while we just kick ass.
I was your hype man.
Yeah, we'd just be flipping around the whole
Verbal
map, just
and psychological bodyguard.
like 60 and 10.
One of the best experiences like Franco and I had when we were playing. He used to come to my house, and he used to because he had PlayStation, I had Xbox, and this is when Xbox 360.
Okay,
And so
Back in the
you know
day.
we were back in the day.
back in the day when I was young.
We were playing Halo 3, I believe,
Ooh.
and
Sounds about right.
our team left us. They abandoned us for dead. We were down by like 10, and you know they had like 10 more points they had to score. Well, for some reason, we both sacked up and decided we were just going to camp, which was not our normal repertoire when we were playing these shooters. But the tide shifted. We actually made up those 10 kills to a point where it was like 1 kill back and forth and stuff like that.
Like kill boxing.
Yeah, absolutely. So then, you know, when you play those close games like that, you know, the tension is high. You know,
Sweating under
in the
armpits.
you get knifed in the
area.
Oh my god, you get knifed in the back, and it's enough to like break your controller.
Yeah.
And so we're sitting there, we're going, and you know, Franco gets the sword. He's like, all right, just get my back. I'm going in. He's knifing, he's swording everyone. We end up
bad boy shit.
it ends up we lose by like 1 kill. Oh, and like I said, total downer.
Still like a accomplishment.
You go back into the lobby, like, you know, to load for the next game. He's like, yo, we know it was only 2 of y'all. That was crazy. Like, we thought we had that in the bag, and like, honestly, if one more person would have stuck their head out, we would have been sitting there how we got beat by 2 people. It was like 2 on 8.
Yeah.
Which was crazy. So you know, you can appreciate like a good matchup and things like that.
Back in the day, Zach and I had this. I like your moves,
I like your style.
and then we kick ass.
Yeah.
Well, and also any gamer worth their salt's gonna give it up for that.
Oh
Yeah.
oh,
Well, and like you
absolutely.
said, because, you know, normally like
Just left the game.
Yeah. They're like, oh yeah, the guy with the most kills said, I'm not taking
Remember
this
those
loss.
League of Legends
Right.
days where you know half the team would leave, just like quit, and then we're just sitting there holding the Nexus down. Man, slam dunking fools with.
Yeah.
But now, you know,
Yeah.
Franco and
It-
I get together and play, and it's just like, I mean, well, this was like 2 months ago when Franco used to
We
actually.
used to actually,
You know what I mean?
I remember the days.
So shout out Footer. Shout out Footer.
For the you made the season finale, bro.
Y'all can
Yeah.
pour one out for me too, you know.
So, but I mean, like, you know, when
Doesn't
you got a
even hit
squad
up
to
the
run
chat
with,
anymore.
you know how you like to push it.
Oh yeah,
You know how you like to push it.
you know how your buddy moves,
Yeah.
and you know what you need to do to make up for that whatever he's about to do.
So,
It's like,
Bro, I don't know. There was no time like that time we came up in with the Xbox era. It's not like that anymore.
it really is.
that was
It's
brutal.
not.
That was
Yeah.
a wild
Well,
west.
like I said,
of gaming.
there's
Like,
elite controllers as opposed to regular controllers. You know, when you're talking about console gaming as opposed to PC gaming, obviously PC gaming has always been more of a top tier because it always evolves a little bit more quicker than console. But you know, like I said, I think hip hop is the same way. Like,
hip hop is Zach.
yeah, you know, it's, you know, there's a format, and then you have some artists that come through and be like, well, yeah, I don't have to use that one. I'm just gonna come up with my old one, and you know, it's
I can rap, but I'm gonna do pop instead.
yeah,
Like you said with
Nicki Minaj. Like, you have an option. You have a an image of what you want to project. You know, sex sells. But if you come in this game as an MC and you want to be respected as an MC, the best way to do that is rap. But if you want to sing songs and you want to get on things with Taylor Swift and Ariana Grande and you want to call in your verses, well, guess what? There's a market for that. But when people start pushing you out of their top 5, you can't get offended because, look, starships were meant to fly.
or mint.
They were meant to
They
fly.
were meant to fly. Doesn't mean that they
Doesn't
will.
mean they did.
Yeah. So, like I said, everything is up for interpretation, especially in the hip hop community, because reputation is everything. Your last verse is everything that you.
Your brand.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's based on.
Not even your last verse, your bar from bar. Like, I remember back in the day when the Source, was it the Source or Double XL?
Well, it was both.
Oh,
the Source was more the prominent magazine that people went for their reviews of albums.
And it said, and where it said what?
Oh, and like I said,
it said in please. It was in where please.
Yeah. and like I said, even if you weren't in that category, it was still based on how many mics it was. And even to this day, Equimini and Blueprint, those are 5 mic albums. And like I said, I appreciate the rating system because this was before that you could get on social media and make an argument for how good your project was and blah, blah, blah. It used to be you just open it, go to the back page and be like, okay, you got 3.5. And that was average. But if you got a 5 mic, that would guarantee that you would sell 1 million and that you would have at least 2 or 3 music videos that you would be on the Billboard chart and
Sold
things
out.
like that. But those were at least legitimate. There was a solid hip hop critic community that made it.
Yeah,
That legitimized it. There's no debate about the 5 mic albums that they gave. Black Album's a 5.
And the cool thing was they weren't trying to please the artist to bring them on whatever platform. It was pure hip hop fanatics reviewing
For
your
fans,
work.
by
Yeah,
fans.
yeah. It wasn't some blogger coming in and just like saying some BS
Or
like
like
giving
some
because they want promotion from
corporate
whatever.
agenda.
Yeah.
And like today, like I said, yo, Mac Miller, it's not that I wrote it off, but listening to one song that I must not have transferred over to my phone and I heard it on Tiny Desk and then went back and for some reason that was the missing link to me re-listening to the project. And now I'm like, this shit was so more introspective than what I originally thought. And I overlooked it. I made a mistake. I didn't rate it, but at the same time, I can appreciate it more now than I maybe did when it came out. And I mean, like I said, that's hip hop.
For all of those reasons.
Yeah.
Because you went back and
And like I
noticed
said,
the nuance.
Yes. And like, I'm looking at the album artwork and I'm like, yo, he's saying so much more by just sitting down on his album cover than I originally thought. But because we live in an era where we just consume, we have a tendency to make quick opinions
Snap
that aren't not
judgment.
absolutely. And it doesn't necessarily mean that those are right. Some of the stuff, like when it's
I'm
trash.
very guilty of that.
Oh, I mean,
And
on
you're
a
absolutely
Friday,
right,
we
yeah.
were just talking about how the 2 albums that were Free Nationals and Kaytranada. We were just talking about that.
Bubba.
Yeah. I got those. Normally, I'm like the first one to be like, yo, these came out today. Everybody listen. Didn't log in before I left the house, go do some Christmas shopping, came back, sat on the couch. I'm like, oh, you know what? Didn't even check the new releases. Free Nationals, slept under that for like half a day. So it's...
How could you?
Headshot me when you see me in the streets. So like I said, I think the rapid consumption does have its negative effects. Sometimes we can write the stuff off as fast as we consume it. So there's
True.
been plenty of projects like that.
And this is coming from y'all, which I utilize as a tool against that as well. You know, like there's so much to consume.
I think Jay, I used to pride myself on being more of an underground consumer. I think just as I've gotten older, I think I've kind of drifted more towards the mainstream. I think Jay has kind of kept his roots, staying kind of neutral. He can move to the mainstream when he wants, but I think his wheelhouse is more of the underground. I think, and especially like the nerdcore scene, like you were talking about earlier.
I feel like Jay likes or wants underground things, but always kind of has you always kind of have your thumb on the pulse of what even the mainstream is, even if you don't like it.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, I listened to a lot of the new kids' albums. I think I listened to Rowdy Rich's album. I enjoyed it. Baby's kind of new on the scene. I was really bigging him up. Lil Baby. Trey knows me as a big fan of Lil Baby because we went to a World Star Hip Hop Showcase and I wanted to see him. That was the artist I wanted to see.
Him and Flip De Niro.
Yeah, him and Flip De Niro. Yeah, I was like, yeah, he's but. Yeah, I think Trey understands that about me as we listen to music and as he's seen what I post, even from my list that I made there. Like I didn't put any. I put very few of the big albums from the big artists, AAA artists out there. I was mostly staying true to the indie scene. Like I want to push those guys.
I actually love that about y'all, that we get two such similar and vastly different perspectives of the same
I think we definitely, like we've said before on this podcast, I think we respect each other's opinion about it. But we're not afraid to be like, all right, Jay, come on, man.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
All right, come on. Like, no, I agree with you like the last 3 weeks and you had a hot streak going, but that doesn't mean you can slide one of them things in there like you normally do. And so, that's what I love about Jay, man. And he's always trying to win the lottery with some of the
That's true. I'm like that investor trying to get that startup.
He wants that big break, and sometimes I have to let him know, like, yo, man,
that's fair because I do it to myself. I was like, yo, don't listen to that album. I'm deleting it from the channel.
And that's what's good about the Discord is that you can post it. And then I might not see it for like half a day because I'm at work. And then I go back and I'm like, no, I swear to God, he put something on there. And it never happened.
Yeah.
Like it never happened. And that was not used the case when we just had the regular group chat.
Yeah, that's true. It stayed on there. I had to type in like, please don't listen to that one.
Turn back, please. I don't want it. I don't want the smoke that goes with it. Oh, no, I got down to the last 3 tracks and it's just not worth it.
Yeah, no. Man, this was an amazing end of year wrap up. We went through a lot of content. We had some nice guests in here, and going forward, I think we found something that we could push forward. There was a lot of humor in here, some good laughs throughout the year. We had some great laughs. And
I'm just grateful that we stuck with it, and that we were so anxious about how we wanted this to turn out. And I think once we got past the anxiety of actually trying to make sure that our quality was where we wanted it to be, the quality never dipped. I think it was always where we wanted it to be, and we tweaked things when we saw that. You and I have had some tough conversations this first season.
We had some good feedback from you all out there.
Yeah,
it's only going to get better.
So and like I said, we push it so that it gets better. And so I think season 2 coming in 2020, I think it's going to be a great second season because you know what you can expect from us when we come. We're gonna bring the smoke, but at the same time, we give ourselves smoke for previous comments we've made, and to each other when we feel like we're overgassing up projects. So I want to shout out Jake because he seems to be the newest member of the All That show, and Zach always being on the fire marshal.
Yeah.
Got the fire extinguisher handler. Yeah. So, shout out to the fans out there. Shout out to everyone who's been supportive of us, and it's great. I'm glad the first season was as successful as it was.
Yeah, same here, man. And like I said, we got new logos coming. We got more content about the smoke coming to you. I think it's gonna be amazing going forward. There will be new shows and everything else, and shout out to all the future shisha companies we hope to get.
Like I said, Social Smoke, Al Fokker, Fumari. Hopefully Wuka will send us another hookah to experience this podcast.
Sir Bentley, the new players on the scene with smoke.
What was it, B2?
B2.
Regal.
Regal.
Go ahead and send it. Just go ahead and send it. Don't even think about it.
And shout out to the Standard KM. Kala Moon, straight up from Egypt. So we appreciate everything that we've been able to experience this year. And I want to wish you all happy holidays, fruitful new year, many blessings rain down upon you all. And
I'm excited to see what comes in 2020.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I don't even need to. I can just get excited right now. New logo, new logo.
We got lots of stuff to be excited about.
So we can get super excited about the new logo because that will be
I already
priority.
started drawing it.
Yeah. So I hope I'm just not a stick figure in stop motion
I hope I'm
illustration.
not some dark lips or bright pink lips.
Oh shit!
Back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
You can't forget those lips, man.
Oh my
what,
God.
what about that
I
tiny?
don't want to just be like walking.
What about that tiny pixelated hookah though?
Oh yeah.
The one that we don't even own.
Shout out to Fat Dragon.
Opposite of shout out to
Dragon.
Fiverr.
Yeah. Oh
No,
man.
still shout out to Fiverr.
Yeah.
We got what we paid for.
We did.
Okay, that's true.
So, like I said, shame on us.
Shame. Old Game
But
of
yeah.
Thrones style.
To wrap everything up, I just want to say thank you guys for everything you've done for us and the listeners. You know, we treat the views as something that you guys have been enjoying up to this point. We hope to get better with our quality and content, and we look forward to seeing you into the next year. So it's the boy Zach, my homie Jay,
Jaydubya,
and your boy Trey, man. Bring the Smoke podcast, man. Y'all be easy, man. We're gonna get up out of here.
signing out.
See you in 2020.
Peace.
Peace.